Chapter 42-49. The leader of the Liang cat beasts is covered in golden fur. It looks majestic and looks disdainfully at the world. Just by squatting there are countless golden whirlwinds revolving around it. Its eyes are filled with ferocity. Naturally, it does not have a good impression of the two little dragon warriors who have invaded its territory. Killing intent is spreading. Not good. Lin Yuji is already on the verge of collapsing. Seeing the leader of the Liang cat beasts, her face immediately darkens. At this moment, she has already used her dragon weapon. It is a heaven-level dragon weapon, the strongest dragon weapon. However, she is still unable to control this dragon weapon very well. It was prepared for her by her family after she qualified to enter Donghuang Yonggu College. Therefore, her heaven-level dragon weapon is unable to display too much of its power. The key is that she has not reached the level of compatibility with the dragon weapon. Unlike Kong Shinmu, who can fuse with the dragon weapon. Therefore, after using the dragon weapon, her battle strength does not increase by much. In this kind of situation, her battle strength can at most deal with 3 Liang cat beasts at the same time. This is already her limit. Furthermore, she will have to risk her life to kill one of them. It must be known that these Liang cat beasts are very orderly. After one of them is injured, it will retreat to the side and release a silver tornado to attack her from afar. While she is surrounded by other Liang cat beasts, she cannot find a chance to break out. Lin Yuji, who has problems dealing with ordinary Liang cat beasts, immediately changes her expression when she sees the leader of the golden Liang cat beasts. She feels that the situation is a little difficult. Originally, she thought that it was still okay. But now, if she wants to leave this place alive, it will depend on luck. Kong Shinmu Yu. When she looks at Kong Shinmu, she discovered that the ordinary Liang cat beasts that are attacking Kong Shinmu are actually on the verge of death. There are a total of 8 Liang cat beasts. Looking at their injuries, they are not fatal. However, these 8 Liang cat beasts look like they are about to die. Obviously, Kong Shinmu's attack has some special effect. This caused Lin Yuji to widen her eyes in disbelief. Kong Shinmu actually possessed such terrifying strength? Kong Shinmu, the leader of the Liang cat beasts, possesses the strength to fight against the Dragon King at the peak of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm. Are you confident? Lin Yuji's face darkened. Even though she saw that Kong Shinmu dealt with the ordinary beam cat beast smoothly, the strength of the leader of the beam cat beasts far surpassed them. If it had appeared from the beginning, I might not have been able to defeat it, but now... Jiang Shenwu glanced at the leader of the golden beam cat beasts. His nervous heart had already calmed down. Currently, his nirvana devouring power had already devoured a lot of energy from ordinary beam cat beasts. Therefore, he had a very strong resistance against the wind attribute attacks of the beam cat beasts. If the leader of the golden beam cat beasts could have killed Kong Shinmu with a single move, then the current Kong Shinmu definitely wouldn't be killed by a single move. This gave Kong Shinmu a chance. There were still many dying beam cat beasts around, so Kong Shinmu temporarily stopped absorbing their flesh essence. This was because it would still be useful against the leader of the beam cat beasts. Right at this moment, 2 loud dragon roars suddenly rang out from one of the underground caverns. Following that, 2 divine dragons flew out. The other students had arrived. It's Bao Peng and Qin Shoji. Kong Shinmu recognized the 2 divine dragons the moment he saw them. Great, we can work together. Lin Yuji was secretly delighted to see the 2, but she was immediately stunned. Following closely behind the 2 divine dragons was another golden beam cat beast. Its strength was almost the same as the golden beam cat beast that was glaring at them. Behind the golden beam cat beast were several silver beam cat beasts, chasing after Bao Peng and Qin Shoji. They were delighted to see Kong Shinmu and Lin Yuji. Lin Yuji. Kong Shinmu. That's great you're here. Qin Shoji shamelessly hid behind Lin Yuji. As for Bao Peng, she wasn't so direct and shameless. She flew to Lin Yuji's side, planning to fight with her. Of course, the 2 were happy to see allies. But very soon, their happy faces froze. Because they saw a golden beam cat beast glaring at them like a tiger watching its prey. They had just fought the leader of the golden beam cat beasts for a while, and were already injured. They knew they weren't a match for it. But now, 2 of them appeared at once. In this kind of terrain, the 2 golden beam cat beasts and the dozen or so ordinary beam cat beasts around them were definitely not easy to deal with. Moreover, This place seemed to be close to the center of the underground karst tunnel. There were karst tunnels all around them, and there was at least one ordinary beam cat beast eyeing them covetously from each tunnel. Are we surrounded? Qin Shoji shuddered. It looks like we're surrounded. Bao Peng sighed, but very quickly, he looked at Jiang Xinwu, who seemed to still be in battle. Furthermore, he looked as lively as a dragon and a tiger, causing his expression to change slightly. This Kong Xinmu seemed to be very strong in battle. Qin Shoji saw that Lin Yuji's injuries weren't light, but when he saw that Jiang Xinwu wasn't injured at all, he couldn't help but snort coldly. Jiang Xinwu, aren't you being too unmanly? Lin Yuji is still fighting even though she's injured, but you're hiding behind her and are still unharmed. Did Sister Lin kill all these beam cat beasts? That's amazing. Bao Peng couldn't help but praise when he saw several dead beam cat beasts. He and Qin Shoji couldn't defeat 3 ordinary beam cat beasts even if they joined forces, but there were 6 dead beam cat beasts here. 8 of them were even on the verge of death. They thought it was Lin Yuji's doing, but in the end, it wasn't me. I only killed 2 of them at most. The expression on Lin Yuji's pretty face was somewhat complicated. She glanced in the direction of Jiang Xinwu and said, "The others were all killed by him alone." What? His words struck Bao Peng and Qin Shoji like a bolt of lightning. Sister Lin, you're joking, right? Qin Shoji didn't believe it. Didn't this kid lose to Sister Lin in the tournament? Besides, he was seriously injured at that time. He should be suppressing his internal injuries now. How could he be so strong? Look at him now. Does he look like he has internal injuries? Lin Yuji glanced at Qin Shoji. She knew that this kid was just jealous of other people's talent. Lin Yuji wouldn't be jealous of other people's talent. When she couldn't beat someone, she would only blame herself for being too weak. She wouldn't be jealous of others. Enough with the nonsense. Right now, we are surrounded. We can only break out of the encirclement. Lin Yuji said in a low voice. She shouted at Kong Xinmu, "Kong Xinmu, get ready to break out." Chapter 4250. It could be done? Bao Peng and Qin Shoji looked at each other as if they had seen a ghost. What level was the leader of the Golden Beam Cat Beasts? It was equivalent to a Dragon King at the pinnacle of the Nirvana Tribulation realm. Although they all had inherited blood essence of the Dragon King level, their cultivation base was not that high. Lin Yuji was slightly higher, but the rest were only at the 7th level of the Nirvana Tribulation. This was the cultivation base they should have at their age. This was already the fastest speed in the world. Kong Xinmu was only at the 3rd level of the Nirvana Tribulation. Of course, Kong Xinmu was much younger than them, so it was normal for his cultivation base to be lower than theirs. But Kong Xinmu said that he could take care of 2 golden beam cat beasts. This was very puzzling. This was absolutely impossible. If you could really take care of these 2 golden beam cat beasts, you wouldn't have lost to Sister Lin in the competition. Bao Peng could not help but advise. Little brother Jiang, let's not force ourselves. Let's find a direction to break out of. We can come back after we gather and plan. Why drag it until tomorrow if we can take care of it today? Kong Xinmu said calmly. Although there was 1 more golden beam cat beast, he also had 2 more allies. As long as they cooperated, he might be able to kill all the golden beam cat beasts. After all, his resistance to the power of the wind attribute would become stronger as the battle progressed. The existence of the devouring power of Nirvana made him almost invincible in a battle of attrition. The longer the battle dragged on, the stronger he would become. Kong Xinmu, stop bragging. Hurry up and leave. Qin Shoji became slightly serious. It was not that he was jealous of Kong Xinmu, but he really did not want to see Kong Xinmu die here. After all, they were all students of Donghuang Yonggu College. If one of them died, he would lose face. Moreover, his sister, Qin Fengyu, had a good relationship with Kong Xinmu. He did not want his sister to be sad. Although Qin Shoji had a foul mouth, he was still very concerned about his sister. Lin Yuji also felt that Kong Xinmu had overestimated himself. He had only killed a few ordinary Liang cat beasts. Although some of them were heavily injured and on the verge of death, it seemed like they wouldn't die yet and would recover after a while. Once they were surrounded, they wouldn't be able to escape. No one knows how many Liang cat beasts there are. If we don't leave now, it might be too late later. Lin Yuji reminded. Of course, Kong Shinmu had thought of this as well. However, if that golden beam cat beast was really a leader-class beam cat beast, then he only needed to kill one, then he could kill as many as he wanted. No matter how many opponents of the same level came, they could not shake Kong Shinmu. This was because he could devour the flesh and blood essence of his opponents to heal his own injuries, as well as recover the power he had expended. His stamina was almost limitless. Although it was a little dangerous, he wanted to give it a try. In any case, he would encounter danger sooner or later when he was training outside. This kind of danger was nothing at all. Don't you want to challenge stronger opponents? Kong Shinmu saw that the three of them had the intention to retreat, so he said in a low voice, "Only by challenging stronger opponents and continuously climbing the peak can we reach the top. Don't tell me you don't even understand this logic? You only need to deal with the small ones. Help me hold them off for a while. I'll deal with the two Liang cat beasts myself. If something happens to me, you can just leave. Don't worry about me." He had already said this much. If the others still did not want to help, then there was nothing he could do. If there was no other way, he would stay and do it himself. Kong Shinmu's words left the three speechless. However, Lin Yuji frowned slightly and immediately made a move. "All right, I'll believe you this once. Sister Lin, how can we believe this kid's words? Isn't he just setting us up?" Xueqi felt a little helpless. "If one of us dies this time, it'll be a big deal. We can't afford to bear the school's blame. You don't have to bear the responsibility." Kong Shinmu glanced at him and said indifferently, "The mission this time was only to deal with one Liang cat beast. Not only are there many Liang cat beasts, but there's also a Liang cat beast leader. Even if something happens, it'll be the Sacred Abyss Dragon Country's responsibility. But if we can kill all of these Liang cat beasts, then the situation will be different. Think about it, they said there was only one Liang cat beast, but there are so many of them, dozens of them. If we kill them all, then wouldn't the Sacred Abyss Dragon Country respect Donghuang Yonggu College even more?" Bao Peng finally nodded after hearing this. He said in deep thought, "That makes sense." Xueqi knocked him on the head. "That makes no sense at all. If you want to fight, then fight. I won't leave them behind and run away." Although this guy had a foul mouth, he was quite loyal. However, the surrounding Liang cat beasts wouldn't give them too much time to talk about loyalty. At this time, the surrounding Liang cat beasts seemed to have finished their conversation. Two golden Liang cat beasts attacked Kong Shinmu, who was the closest to them. Countless golden whirlwinds whistled toward Kong Shinmu like a tsunami. His black dragon body shuttled through the air. The dragon martial technique, extreme shadow flowing light, instantly exploded, and he actually dodged most of the attacks. The only two golden whirlwinds whistled on his black dragon body. The terrifying power could only leave two shallow scratches on his black dragon body. If Xueqi, Bao Peng, and Lin Yuji saw this, their eyes would definitely pop out of their sockets. Unfortunately, the three of them were tightly surrounded by the silver ordinary Liang cat beasts. There were more than 10 silver Liang cat beasts surrounding them. Countless silver whirlwinds swept from all directions, attacking Lin Yuji and the others. Since Kong Shinmu hadn't left, they couldn't leave either. In a split second they used all kinds of methods. They even took some spirit pills that could temporarily enhance their strength and took out all kinds of dragon weapons. Light and shadows flew everywhere. Although Lin Yuji and the others couldn't kill the ordinary Liang cat beasts, it wouldn't be easy for them to kill them either. On the other side, Kong Shinmu used extreme shadow flowing light to quickly approach one of the golden Liang cat beasts. Countless wind blades flew toward Kong Shinmu like knives and swords, causing his black dragon body to splatter with blood. The golden Liang cat beasts were very strong. If not for the fact that Kong Shinmu had devoured a lot of the ordinary Liang cat beast's strength and strengthened his resistance, he would probably have died at the hands of the two golden Liang cat beasts. But now, he was only slightly injured. Although his injuries weren't light and his body was almost covered in blood, the devouring power that Kong Shinmu had left in the ordinary Liang cat beasts was activated at this moment. Chapter 4251. Even the golden beam cat beasts could not kill Kong Shinmu in one go. Since that was the case, Kong Shinmu would use his devouring power to become stronger and stronger in battle. Countless golden whirlwinds condensed into blades, and they revolved around Jiang Shenwu before sweeping towards him. If Lin Yuji and the others were here, they would have been sliced into pieces by these golden wind blades. However, Kong Shinmu's resistance to the power of the wind element had reached an extremely high level. Although the opponent's attacks could injure him, they could not kill him. He only needed to use his devouring power to devour the blood and flesh essence of the silver beam cat beasts around him to ensure his own survival. Moreover, as time passed, his resistance to the power of the wind element would become stronger and stronger. Void Dragon Sky-Piercing Strike. Kong Shinmu also used his Dragon Origin attack technique and attacked the two golden beam cat beasts crazily. Although he could not cause too much damage to them for the time being and could not even leave a mark for the devouring power to enter, it still consumed a lot of energy to defend against Kong Shinmu's attacks. When their energy was almost depleted, Kong Shinmu's chance to win would come. The two golden beam cat beasts' eyes were filled with extreme solemnity and hatred. Obviously, they did not expect Kong Shinmu to be so powerful. However, since Kong Shinmu dared to enter their nest and kill their own kind, they naturally would not let Kong Shinmu go. They had to kill Kong Shinmu no matter what. Why do you hate me so much? Kong Shinmu looked at the two golden beam cat beasts' hateful eyes and sneered. If it wasn't for the fact that you often attacked the surrounding villages and killed too many civilians and dragon martial artists, the Sacred Abyss Dragon Country would not have asked us to annihilate you. Although Kong Shinmu said that, he still decided to investigate after he got out of here to see if these beam cat beasts really killed civilians and dragon martial artists in the surrounding villages and if there was only one of them each time. If there was a multi-striped cat beast, it meant that the Sacred Abyss Dragon Country was lying to Donghuang Yonggu College. Of course, while searching for the Liang cat beast in the underground karst cave, Kong Shinmu discovered that there was a faint smell of blood coming from the depths of the underground karst cave. Furthermore, he saw many human bones along the way. This meant that these Liang cat beasts were very likely to be bad guys. Although there were also benevolent demon beasts, if one were to say that these Liang cat beasts were benevolent, then Kong Shinmu could call himself a saint. The two golden beam cat beasts kept attacking Kong Shinmu. Soon, many ordinary beam cat beasts joined in the fight against Kong Shinmu. Lin Yuji, Bao Peng, and Qin Shoji gradually felt the pressure on them lessen. They clearly hadn't killed a single beam cat beast, but the number of beam cat beasts attacking them was decreasing. Look, Kong Shinmu is... Very quickly, Bao Peng's eyes were filled with shock. From his angle, he could see the situation that Jiang Shenwu was facing. What's wrong with him? Lin Yuji was a little nervous. She looked in Kong Shinmu's direction but couldn't see Kong Shinmu's situation because there were many silver beam cat beasts in the middle. He's being attacked by more than 10 Liang cat beasts, including 2 golden beam cat beasts. Bao Peng said in shock. But he's actually fine. What? Qin Shoji couldn't see Kong Shinmu's situation either, but he knew that Bao Peng wouldn't be lying after hearing her words. His heart trembled violently. Kong Shinmu could actually take on 2 golden beam cat beasts without dying. If it were them, they wouldn't be able to last long even if they used all their defensive dragon techniques. Not to mention that many silver beam cat beasts had run over to attack Kong Shinmu, abandoning the 3 of them. It was as if Kong Shinmu was a greater threat to the silver beam cat beasts than the 3 of them combined. This gave them an inconceivable feeling, almost unbelievable. Bao Peng and Qin Shoji had always thought that Kong Shinmu's battle strength was about the same as theirs, much weaker than Lin Yuji's. After all, Kong Shinmu had failed to challenge Lin Yuji. But now the battle strength Kong Shinmu displayed made them sweat with shame. Void Dragon Sky-Piercing Strike. Kong Shinmu sneered as he watched more and more silver beam cat beasts besiege him. They posed no threat to him at all. The gathering of the silver beam cat beasts did increase the strength of the golden beam cat beasts, but they still couldn't kill Kong Shinmu. Most importantly, as long as Kong Shinmu used the Void Dragon Sky-Piercing Strike on the silver beam cat beasts, they would be injured and corroded by the Nirvana Devouring Strike. Then, Kong Shinmu could devour their life essence without limit. This was the situation that Kong Shinmu liked the most. Against the more troublesome demonic beast leaders, as long as there were demonic beast underlings around, it would be a great help to Kong Shinmu. Devour. Kong Shinmu was covered in blood after being attacked by the 2 golden beam cat beasts. But as he devoured, his internal injuries recovered in a short time. However, the blood that covered the surface of his black dragon body didn't disappear. After all, the blood wasn't his injuries. It was just a little dirty at most. This caused Bao Peng's heart to palpitate with fear. Although Kong Shinmu managed to block it, he is covered in blood. Although his aura is still there, but I have a feeling that he won't be able to last much longer. Bao Peng said anxiously. Then what should we do? Qin Shoji asked with gritted teeth. His mouth was sharp, but he didn't want to see Kong Shinmu, who was also a student of the Donghuang Dragon Martial School, die in front of him. This meant that he was useless and couldn't even protect his own classmate. Let's break through and help him. Lin Yuji gritted her teeth and made a decision. If they joined forces, their strength wouldn't be weak. Those ordinary silver beam cat beasts would basically retreat. If they stubbornly blocked their path, they would definitely be killed. But now, these silver beam cat beasts were using a wheel tactic. They would retreat the moment they were injured. This made it easier for Lin Yuji and the rest to break through. However, they wouldn't give up on Kong Shinmu, who was still fighting. Kong Shinmu, we're coming! Bao Peng shouted and cooperated with Qin Shoji and Lin Yuji. The three divine dragons quickly broke through the underground cavern. The ordinary silver beam cat beasts were injured and retreated, allowing the three of them to get closer to Kong Shinmu. You guys take care of yourselves. I can handle things here. Kong Shinmu was somewhat touched when he saw them disregarding the danger to come to his aid. However, he was in great condition now and didn't need any help. At this moment, the silver beam cat beasts seemed to have sensed something. Under the lead of the golden beam cat beast leader, they retreated rapidly. The speed at which they retreated was even faster than when they came. In a flash, they had already disappeared. Chapter 42-52. They ran away. Jiang Shenwu's black dragon body glanced in the direction where the two golden beam cat beasts escaped and said in a deep voice. Ran away. Lin Yuji and the other two looked at each other. Bao Peng was confused. Didn't they have the upper hand? Why did they suddenly run away? Did someone else catch up? They're already at a disadvantage. Kong Shinmu shook his head. The two golden beam cat beast leaders should have sensed it. If they keep fighting, they'll die in my hands. Qin Shoji couldn't help but mock. When can you change your bad habit of bragging? It's already good enough that you're still alive. You're still bragging that they'll die in your hands? He definitely didn't believe Kong Shinmu's words. After all, Jiang Shenwu was covered in blood from head to toe and looked like he was seriously injured. As for the two golden beam cat beast leaders, they seemed to be agile and seemed to be uninjured. How could he believe that Kong Shinmu would kill the Liang cat beasts? In his eyes, this was undoubtedly bragging. Even Lin Yuji didn't believe Jiang Shenwu's words. She secretly shook her head. She felt that Jiang Shenwu had gone too far with his words. He was clearly seriously injured and on the verge of death, yet he was still so stubborn. Let's chase. Kong Shinmu said. I'll chase one by myself. You three team up and chase the other. Still chasing? Qin Shoji jumped up like a dog whose tail had been stepped on. You're about to die and you're still chasing. What we should do now is to go back and think about it. Yes. Bao Peng nodded. I also think we should go back and explain the situation to the Sacred Abyss Dragon Country. We need to see if their information is wrong. We obviously need to increase the reward. Isn't the reward for the mission determined by the Academy's rules and regulations? Kong Shinmu frowned. As long as we bring back the bodies of the Liang cat beasts, the Academy will naturally increase the reward. The point is, can you kill these Liang cat beasts? Qin Shoji snorted coldly. At the very least, we must kill the two golden Liang cat beast leaders. Kong Shinmu glanced at him and said, I suspect that they're not purely running away, but they've sensed something. There might be other students nearby. If the other students are captured by the leader of the golden beam cat beasts and used to threaten us, the situation will not be good. Threat. Qin Shoji added sarcastically. If the Liang cat beast wanted to kill us, it would be a piece of cake. Why would it need to threaten us? Kong Shinmu, don't you think too highly of yourself? Looks like you're the publicly acknowledged king of bad mouths. That makes sense. Lin Yuji glanced at Qin Shoji and lightly said, But your mouth may be stinky, but what you said is very reasonable. Kong Shinmu, we should go back. They hate me. Kong Shinmu looked in the direction one of the golden Liang cat beasts had escaped and said in a low voice, Let's hurry up and go. If they find other students, things will be troublesome. Kong Shinmu was almost certain that the leader of the Liang cat beasts wanted to find other students to threaten him, because he had killed more than 10 Liang cat beasts. Without further ado, he didn't wait for the other three and only said goodbye to them before chasing in the direction one of the golden Liang cat beasts had escaped. Lin Yuji and the other two looked at each other when they saw that Kong Shinmu had really chased after it. Is this kid telling the truth? Bao Peng was completely baffled. He had thought that Kong Shinmu was just bragging and didn't think that he would really chase after it. Lin Yuji also widened her eyes. She didn't think that Kong Shinmu would really run out. In her surprise, she didn't even have time to stop him. Don't tell me that he wants us to stop him. He's too childish. He hasn't grown up yet, Qin Shoji said hatefully. When he sees that we didn't chase after him, he will come back. Lin Yuji said in a low voice, let's clean up the battlefield first. We can drag these Liang cat beasts' corpses out of the underground karst cave. They planned to deal with the corpses first and wait for Kong Shinmu to come back after thinking it through. But they didn't expect that Kong Shinmu was really chasing after the golden Liang cat beasts with the intention of killing them. In the underground karst cave, Kong Shinmu tailed the aura of the golden Liang cat beasts. At this time, he was very glad that he had cultivated the mystical dragon-seeking shadow. It was very useful for tracking opponents in an underground karst cave. Kong Shinmu didn't lose track of the two golden Liang cat beasts. It was just that they moved very fast and were quite a distance away from him. He chose to chase after the one closest to him. As for the other one, it seemed to be getting further and further away. But he was only one person and couldn't split himself. He could only chase after one of them and couldn't care less about the other one. I hope Lin Yuji and the rest will listen to me and chase after it. Otherwise, it'll be troublesome. With this thought in mind, Kong Shinmu transformed into a black dragon and advanced rapidly in the underground karst cave. The distance between him and the golden Liang cat beasts was getting closer and closer. Suddenly, the sounds of fighting could be heard coming from a larger cave up ahead. Kong Shinmu quickly flew forward and turned a corner. Sure enough, he saw the golden Liang cat beasts and 3 other silver Liang cat beasts in front of 2 female students. Those 2 female students were 2 of the 16 people in this operation. They formed a team to search for the golden Liang cat beasts in this underground karst cave. In the end, before they could find anything, they were attacked by the golden Liang cat beasts in a frenzy. Fortunately, they had maintained their vigilance and had prepared defensive measures. At this moment, they had transformed into their dragon martial artist forms and executed 2 defensive dragon martial skills, barely managing to block the golden beam cat beast's first attack. But if the golden Liang cat beasts attacked again, the incomparably sharp golden wind blades would completely tear their defenses apart. At this moment, Kong Shinmu finally caught up. His black dragon body instantly appeared in between the golden Liang cat beasts and the 2 female dragon warriors. Countless golden wind blades bombarded Kong Shinmu's body, causing a series of metallic clangs and blood to splatter. At this moment, Kong Shinmu's black dragon body was still stained with blood, but he wasn't actually injured and was in peak condition. Even after suffering this attack from the golden Liang cat beasts, he was only slightly injured and bled a little. It wasn't a big deal at all. But in the eyes of the 2 female dragon warriors, Kong Shinmu's image instantly became taller. Isn't this the heavily injured Kong Shinmu? Why is he here? He even sacrificed his life to save us. Chapter 42-53. Kong Shinmu's timely appearance saved the 2 girls. But even if Kong Shinmu didn't appear, they probably wouldn't die. This golden beam cat beast most likely wanted to capture them to threaten the other students. But no matter what, Kong Shinmu's appearance prevented the situation from worsening. Furthermore, his appearance had already intercepted the golden beam cat beast, leaving it with no way to escape. Void Dragon Sky-Piercing Strike. Kong Shinmu immediately used his strongest attack and attacked the golden beam cat beast. But his current attacking ability was truly lacking, and he couldn't even leave a mark on the golden beam cat beast's body. This undoubtedly made Kong Shinmu feel a little uncomfortable. Fortunately, there were 2 girls assisting him by the side. Help, attack it together. As long as we can create a wound on its body, it'll be fine. I can settle it. Kong Shinmu instructed in a deep voice. The 2 girls were very obedient. Without any hesitation, They immediately followed Kong Shinmu and attacked the Golden Beam Cat Beast together. Although their strength wasn't strong, in terms of attack, they weren't much inferior to Kong Shinmu. With the three of them attacking together, the Golden Beam Cat Beast finally felt a lot of pressure. The Golden Beam Cat Beast dashed left and right in an attempt to escape, but it was a pity that it couldn't do as it wished. Kong Shinmu finally caught up to it, so how could he let it escape just like that? Right at this moment, the two girls joined forces and actually executed a Dragon Fusion Martial Technique. Dragon Fusion Martial Technique was executed by the coordination of many dragon martial artists. Its power was naturally much stronger than other individual dragon martial techniques of the same level. However, this type of Dragon Fusion Martial Technique required the two people participating in the execution to be mentally connected, and their coordination had to be at the peak for it to work. Otherwise, the execution might very likely fail. At this moment, the two girls possessed this level of coordination. They were usually good friends and joined Donghuang Yonggu College at almost the same time. They also trained together. At this moment, the two divine dragons, one ice and one fire, erupted with horrifying fusion energy. The power of ice and fire condensed into a beam of destructive light, bombarding the Golden Beam Cat Beast's weakest point, its stomach. This move finally injured the Golden Beam Cat Beast. Fresh blood spurted out and Kong Shinmu's heart skipped a beat. His devouring power followed like a shadow, turning into a pitch-black shadow that corroded the wound of the Golden Beam Cat Beast. Without any warning, Kong Shinmu's energy invaded the Golden Beam Cat Beast's body. Moreover, this Golden Beam Cat Beast didn't have the ability to rapidly heal its wounds. Therefore, Kong Shinmu's pitch-black devouring nirvana energy continued to penetrate into the depths. It's dead for sure. You guys take care of yourselves, Kong Shinmu said in a deep voice. All right. The two female dragon warriors, one ice and one fire, immediately nodded their heads. After using the fusion dragon martial skill, their condition had dropped quite a bit. For a moment, they did not have a strong defense. Fortunately, Kong Shinmu was present. Kong Shinmu had already injected countless devouring powers into the body of the Golden Beam Cat Beast. To Kong Shinmu, this was already enough to seal his victory. Unfortunately, the Golden Beam Cat Beast wasn't aware of this. It could sense that after the two female students used the fusion dragon martial skill, it was injured, but the two girls had lost most of their strength and needed to rest. This made it know that an opportunity had come. It realized that Kong Shinmu's attack couldn't hurt it at all. This made it ferocious. Initially, it felt that Kong Shinmu was a little strange and couldn't be killed no matter how it attacked. But now, since Kong Shinmu's attack was too weak and couldn't hurt it, what was there for it to be afraid of? Immediately after, the Golden Beam Cat Beast launched an incomparably fierce attack at Kong Shinmu. Terrifying energy burst out continuously. Golden whirlwinds formed into blades that swept towards Kong Shinmu. If he was facing such a fierce attack, perhaps Kong Shinmu would be helpless and would choose to temporarily avoid it. But now, his devouring power had already entered the Golden Beam Cat Beast's body. This allowed him to be completely unrestrained from now on. The golden wind blade swept over and blasted a series of bone-deep wounds on his pitch-black divine dragon's body. The divine dragon's blood splattered everywhere, causing the two female students to feel as though they were about to suffocate. They felt that Kong Shinmu was too noble. He actually stood in front of them alone to let them recover their strength. But soon, they realized that something was wrong. Because no matter how many injuries Kong Shinmu suffered or how much divine dragon blood splattered, it didn't seem to affect Kong Shinmu's movements at all. On the surface, Kong Shinmu seemed to be severely injured, but he was still full of energy and didn't seem to be hindered at all. This situation surprised the two girls. As time passed, they realized that Kong Shinmu was still full of energy. On the contrary, the Golden Beam Cat Beast's attacks seemed to be getting weaker and weaker. In fact, they felt that the Golden Beam Cat Beast was getting weaker. Not only were its attacks weaker, but its speed was also getting slower. Its entire body was filled with a weak aura. What's going on? The two girls didn't know what was going on at all and were confused. But when they were resting, they were in charge of helping Kong Shinmu deal with the ordinary silver beam cat beasts around them. Therefore, they didn't think too much about it. Now that the situation was tense, they heaved a sigh of relief when they saw that the Golden Beam Cat Beast was getting weaker. This battle had already ended when the Golden Beam Cat Beast's injuries couldn't be healed. Although Kong Shinmu continued to suffer heavy injuries and was shrouded in unparalleled pain, he was already used to this level of pain and didn't take it to heart. As the devouring power of Nirvana was activated, the golden beam cat beast became weaker and weaker. Its life, flesh, essence, and even the golden wind attribute power in its body were all being devoured by Kong Shinmu. This caused the golden beam cat beast to feel incomparably terrified. It had no idea what was going on with it. It only felt as if its body was being corroded by a unique and strange power, causing its power to be constantly devoured. It was like an endless black hole, causing it to become weaker and weaker. Moreover, its life force was rapidly weakening. When 1/3 of its life essence was absorbed, it finally reacted and wanted to escape. Unfortunately, it was too late. Void Dragon Sky-Piercing Strike. Kong Shinmu targeted the other silver beam cat beasts around him. While these ordinary beam cat beasts were busy defending themselves, he called out to the two girls to attack the golden beam cat beast. Now that the situation was urgent, he didn't want to rely on the devouring power to kill the golden beam cat beast. Chapter 42-54. When the golden beam cat beast was trapped and unable to escape, it was destined to die here. Most importantly, Kong Shinmu's terrifying Nirvana devouring power had already invaded its body and was constantly devouring its life force and essence, causing it to become weaker and weaker. In less than the time it took to drink a cup of tea, the golden beam cat beast had completely lost its ability to fight and fell to the ground with a plop. As for the silver beam cat beasts in the surroundings, they were killed by Kong Shinmu and the two female students. After the golden beam cat beast lost its ability to fight, these ordinary beam cat beasts didn't have any room to maneuver. They were completely ineffective against Kong Shinmu's attacks. Kong Shinmu could casually kill them. Moreover, he had already invaded their bodies with his Nirvana devouring power. This Nirvana devouring power caused many of them to lose their ability to fight even earlier than the golden beam cat beast. Kong Shinmu, you're too amazing. Although they didn't know the exact situation, the two female students knew that it was definitely because of Kong Shinmu that the golden beam cat beast leader could be killed so easily. There's no time to lose. Kill these ordinary beam cat beasts and restrain the golden beam cat beast leader before rushing back. The others might already be in danger. Kong Shinmu said in a deep voice. He was very worried about the situation of the other golden beam cat beast. If that golden beam cat beast found an opportunity to kidnap some of their students, the situation would be dire. Most importantly, he had spent so much time to kill the golden beam cat beast. There was a high chance that something had happened on the other side. All right. The two female students didn't ask about the exact situation. In any case, they just had to follow Kong Shinmu's instructions. They trusted Kong Shinmu very much. When Kong Shinmu finished speaking, they immediately attacked and killed the ordinary beam cat beasts that had lost their ability to fight. Then, Jiang Shenwu's black divine dragon body dragged the golden beam cat beast's body, which had lost its ability to fight, back to where it came from. Since the other golden beam cat beast wanted to take a hostage, he would do the same. The two female students followed him the entire way, feeling a little nervous. After all, they didn't know what the situation was like. Now that so many Liang cat beasts had appeared, it was clear that the information they had received was wrong. From what Kong Shinmu had said, it seemed that the others had encountered some trouble. What's more, Lin Yuji, who was in the same group as Kong Shinmu, didn't show up. It was more likely that something had happened. The trio dragged the golden beam cat beast and rushed back as fast as they could. Soon, the underground cave that extended in all directions appeared in Kong Shinmu's field of vision. An incomparably terrifying power came from the center of the tunnel ahead, causing one's heart to palpitate. Sensing this power, Kong Shinmu's expression changed. The power coming from the passageway in front of him gave him a feeling that he was completely unable to resist. Oh no, let's go take a look. Kong Shinmu didn't retreat and quickly moved forward. When he dragged the dying body of the golden beam cat beast to the center of the passageway and saw the situation clearly, he was speechless. He realized that the power that he was completely unable to resist was actually released by a dragon martial artist. However, that dragon martial artist wasn't an ordinary dragon martial artist. It was a mentor from Donghuang Yonggu College. Tan Shoujua, the mentor who had taken Chu Yi away. At this moment, Tan Shoujua had transformed into a powerful existence on the level of the Dragon Emperor. The terrifying earth elemental samsara power swept across the entire area. One of the golden beam cat beasts had already been smashed into pieces by the earth elemental samsara power. Lin Yuji, Bao Peng, and Qin Shoji were fine. They just stood there in a daze and broke out in cold sweat. There were 2 other students present. They were Xueqi and a female student. The 2 of them were in the same group. At this moment, the 2 of them were covered in cold sweat and seemed to have lingering fear. After the golden beam cat beast was smashed into pieces, Tan Shojua returned to his human form. His expression was a little solemn. Xueqi, you've really disappointed me. How could you encounter danger in a place like this? Do you still look like a student of Donghuang Yanggu College? Chu Ye's forehead was covered in cold sweat. He had always been smiling mischievously, but now he couldn't even smile. He scratched his head. I had no choice. If I couldn't beat it, then I couldn't. This golden beam cat beast was too strong. I couldn't resist it and was captured. At this moment, Tan Shojua saw Kong Shinmu and 2 female students rushing over. Seeing the dying golden beam cat beast being dragged over by their divine dragon bodies, they could not help but feel a little surprised. Why couldn't you beat it? Look at them. They beat the golden beam cat beast half to death. Tan Shojua said angrily. If this gets out, people will say that I, Tan Shojua, didn't teach your disciples well. Seeing Kong Shinmu dragging a golden beam cat beast over, Lin Yuji, Qin Shoji, and Bao Peng were also a little surprised and afraid. It was obvious that something had happened just now for Xueqi to call a teacher over. One had to know that every student only had 3 chances to call a teacher for help. Once these 3 chances were used up, it would be impossible to call a teacher for help in the future. Kong Shinmu walked to Lin Yuji's side and asked. After Lin Yuji's simple explanation, he finally understood what had happened. It turned out that it was just as he had imagined. The other golden beam cat beast left from another path and quickly caught Xueqi and the female student. It planned to come back here to threaten Lin Yuji and the others. In the end, when the 2 sides were confronting each other, Xueqi called teacher Tan Shojua over. Tan Shojua naturally made a move and killed the golden beam cat beast instantly. If it wasn't for that, Xueqi and the female student would probably be dead by now. This was because Lin Yuji, Bao Peng, and Qin Shoji couldn't do anything when the other party had a hostage. They didn't expect that it was really as Kong Shinmu had said. The golden beam cat beast went to capture the hostage. Originally, they were still cleaning up the corpse of the beam cat beast. When they came back to their senses, it was already too late. They were all at a loss. This kid is called Kong Shinmu? Tan Shojua glanced at Kong Shinmu and was very unhappy with Xueqi. Do you remember that he joined the academy at the same time as you? If I had known, I would have chosen him. These words made Xueqi feel a little uncomfortable, but it seemed to be the truth. At this moment, Kong Shinmu had actually beaten the other golden beam cat beast to the point where it was on the verge of death and dragged it over. At this moment, Lin Yuji and the others had no choice but to admit that Kong Shinmu was capable. It seems that even without the teacher's help, Kong Shinmu can still turn the situation around by dragging this golden beam cat beast back as a hostage. Lin Yuji couldn't help but think. Chapter 42-55. Silence reigned. Tan Shojua looked at Kong Shinmu with admiration. I didn't expect Chu Yueqiang to find such a good disciple, haha. Tan Shojua's praise made the surrounding students look at Kong Shinmu in a new light. Lin Yuji, Bao Peng, and Qin Shoji wanted to find a hole to hide in. This was too embarrassing. If they had listened to Kong Shinmu's arrangements, everything would have been fine. Even the tutor wouldn't have needed to appear. But now that something had happened and the tutor had to come and solve it, it was a big blow to them. Originally, they didn't think much of Kong Shinmu. Although Kong Shinmu was strong, he wasn't much stronger than them. But now, it seemed that not only was Kong Shinmu stronger than them, but he also had better judgment. This made them feel a little guilty. But no matter what, they were all students of Donghuang Yanggu College. They had the right attitude and no jealousy. They only admired Kong Shinmu and reflected on their actions. After the 2 golden Liang cat beasts were killed, there were no other Liang cat beasts left in the underground cave. Since Tan Shojua was already here, he wasn't in a hurry to return. He stayed in place and ordered the others to kill the other Liang cat beasts in the surroundings. Ordinary Liang cat beasts were hidden in the underground cave. If they weren't killed, they would be a threat to the sacred Abyss Dragon Country in the future. Therefore, killing the Liang cat beasts was a must. At this time, Kong Xinmu and Lin Yuji regrouped and worked together. Tutor Tan said that everyone will get experience points based on the number of Liang cat beasts they kill. You'll probably get a lot this time. Lin Yuji smiled at Kong Xinmu. I hope so. Kong Xinmu nodded. What he lacked the most right now were experience points. With experience points, he would be able to level up quickly. Just the dying golden beam cat beast you brought back is worth a lot of points, right? Lin Yuji chuckled. I wasn't the only one who killed him. Kong Xinmu knew his own limits. If it wasn't for that pair of female students using the fusion dragon martial skill to injure the golden beam cat beast, he wouldn't have been able to deal with the golden beam cat beast. Both sides were basically equal. No matter what, you gained more than me. Lin Yuji was impressed. Moreover, Instructor Tan clearly admires your judgment of the situation. She might even give you extra points. As a teacher, he naturally had the right to give out more experience points to his students. Although it couldn't be too much, even if the academy didn't give it to them, he could still personally distribute it to them. As mentors of Donghuang Yonggu College, experience points were also useful to them. However, the way to obtain experience points was through higher-level missions. Of course, the missions that the mentors accepted were no longer called training missions. They were really going out to solve the problems that the Dragon Emperor Empire couldn't solve. It wasn't like the students' training missions, where the Dragon Emperor Empire just handed over some troublesome matters to them. Kong Xinmu and Lin Yuji were in the same group. They killed normal Liang cat beasts in the underground cave, so their speed was definitely much faster than the other groups. Kong Xinmu acted as a meat shield, and no wind element power could hurt him. Even if another golden beam cat beast appeared, he believed that he could easily face it and kill it with Lin Yuji. Just as Kong Xinmu was thinking about this, a golden light suddenly flashed in front of them. As expected, another golden beam cat beast was running away with the other normal Liang cat beasts. They clearly sensed that the enemies in the underground cave were too strong, and they couldn't hold them back, so they planned to run for their lives. Unfortunately, they were stopped by Kong Xinmu and Lin Yuji. The next day, the group brought more than 100 normal Liang cat beasts and the corpses of the 4 golden beam cat beast leaders back to the sacred Abyss Dragon Country. The general in charge of the sacred Abyss Dragon Country was shocked to find out that they actually killed so many Liang cat beasts in the underground cave. According to the information they received, there was only one Liang cat beast. During this time, Tan Shojua had already gone to the surrounding towns and asked around. Only then did he find out that the sacred Abyss Dragon Country didn't lie about the information. They didn't know that there were so many Liang cat beasts. Liang cat beasts ate humans, but only one Liang cat beast would come back with a large amount of prey. Therefore, even the sacred Abyss Dragon Country didn't know that there were so many Liang cat beasts in the underground cave, and there was even a golden beam cat beast leader. Although they didn't lie about the information, they were still in the wrong. Therefore, Tan Shojua punished them slightly by having the number of training missions that the sacred Abyss Dragon Country could give out for the next year. This undoubtedly meant that they would have to solve many troublesome problems by themselves in the future. In the face of such a punishment, the sacred Abyss Dragon Country didn't dare to resist at all. Then, Tan Shojua brought the students back to Donghuang Yonggu College. Next, it was time to reward them according to their contributions. There were 4 golden beam cat beasts, so they could get more experience points. One of them was killed by Tan Shojua, so it didn't count. 2 of them were killed by Kong Xinmu. One was killed by him and 2 female students, and the other was killed by him and Lin Yuji. He would get more than half of the experience points from killing the 2 golden beam cat beasts. Therefore, Kong Xinmu killed 1 Liang cat beast by himself. The last one was killed by Chu Yi, Bao Peng, Qin Shouji, and the rest of the group of 8, so they didn't return empty-handed. The experience points from killing 1 golden beam cat beast were equivalent to killing 50 silver beam cat beasts. Kong Xinmu made a huge profit this time. He calculated that the experience points he got this time were more than 5 times the experience points from other missions of the same level. It was almost the amount of experience points he could get in a month. Including the 3 months of experience points that Lin Yuji gave me, it's a total of 4 months of experience points. It's a huge gain. Now, it's time for me to improve rapidly. Kong Shin-mu clenched his fists. After Lin Yuji transferred the 3 months of experience points to him, Kong Shin-mu took all the experience points and went to exchange them for experience points. He planned to go into seclusion for a while. He could exchange for all kinds of natural treasures. On one hand, he could increase his cultivation level, and on the other, he could practice the dragon body refining technique, chaotic dragon body. He could also exchange for other origin dragon martial techniques and start cultivating them. Unfortunately, the higher-level origin dragon martial techniques required a lot of experience points. He only had a few experience points, so it wasn't enough. He could only give up for now. I should increase my cultivation level and body refining first. Chapter 42-56. In Kong Shin-mu's own palace. This time, he exchanged for enough heaven and earth treasures in one go and decided to cultivate in the palace for a month first. Among them, half were heaven and earth treasures that contained all kinds of heaven and earth spiritual energy. Kong Shin-mu mainly used this kind of heaven and earth treasure to raise his cultivation level. After all, his current shortcoming was that his cultivation level was too low. Others were generally at the 6th, 7th, or even 8th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm, but he was only at the 3rd level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm. If his devouring Nirvana force was strengthened, it would increase his basic strength. No matter what method he used, he would be able to unleash more power, so his priority would definitely be at the top. The other half were some special materials used to cultivate his chaotic dragon body. This kind of material was also needed by other dragon martial artists. It was mainly used to cultivate the source-level dragon martial skill. The attribute of the dragon martial skill depended on the attribute of the material. Absorbing the corresponding type of heaven and earth treasure would have a good effect on the dragon martial artist's cultivation of the source-level dragon martial skill, allowing the dragon martial artist to cultivate it faster. In the first half of the month, Kong Shin-mu mainly absorbed the heaven and earth treasures, preparing to advance to the 4th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm. His advantage over others in terms of the speed at which his cultivation level rose was due to his ability to devour Nirvana energy. He didn't need to refine those heavenly materials and earthly treasures into elixirs, and he could completely absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. As for ordinary dragon martial artists, even if they refined a heaven and earth treasure into a pill, they would only be able to absorb 20% to 30% of it. Moreover, in the process of refining the pill, the heaven and earth treasure's medicinal strength would also be lost by at least half. In other words, to Kong Shin-mu, one heaven and earth treasure was equivalent to more than 10 of others. This was his greatest advantage. Right now, he had used his experience points to exchange for 15 heaven and earth treasures. They were all relatively suitable for his current cultivation level, so they were not too expensive and the amount of experience points he spent was not too much. He only needed about 2 months of experience points to exchange for these heaven and earth treasures. As for others, they would need at least 150 items to be able to break through, which would take about 2 years. This was also the difference. Of course, Kong Shin-mu didn't think that he was heaven-defying now. Although he was powerful, he was still in the growth stage. There was still a long way to go before he became a true powerhouse. For half a month, Kong Shin-mu constantly devoured those heavenly treasures. He devoured them directly, without the slightest process, and the absorption rate was 100%. This caused his cultivation level to increase rapidly, and after reaching a critical point, he felt as if he was about to break through. This was not only because he had absorbed these natural treasures, but mainly because of the hard training he had done previously, which had given him the foundation to improve. That was why he was able to achieve this in one go. Otherwise, it would not be so easy for him to improve his cultivation with just these natural treasures. When the feeling of breaking through arrived, Kong Shin-mu used the East Emperor formation to make a trip back to the Dragon Emperor Palace. When he was near the Dragon Ceiling Abyss, he made a breakthrough in his cultivation. With his current battle strength, breaking through to the next realm was not difficult at all. Not long after the Nirvana Tribulation Beast appeared, it was almost completely scattered by him. It did not have any battle strength at all. One must know that his current battle strength was comparable to the 7th or even 8th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm. It was naturally not a problem to deal with a Nirvana Tribulation Beast at the 4th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm. When he broke through to the 4th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm, his basic strength had increased by at least 30%. This was almost equivalent to the second time he had been challenged in the Donghuang Dragon Martial Academy's competition, where he had been strengthened by the Dean's power. In fact, It was even more powerful than that. Moreover, this was not Kong Xinmu's biggest improvement this time. When he returned to Donghuang Yangwu College, he began to devour the other natural treasures he had exchanged this time to cultivate the chaotic dragon body. If it was said that cultivating a certain type of origin dragon martial skill might only require a certain kind of natural treasure. However, the chaotic dragon body was not so simple. This was a type of body-refining type dragon martial skill that could allow a dragon martial artist to have resistance to every type of power once it was cultivated. Very few dragon martial artists paid attention to body-refining type dragon martial skills now. However, to Kong Xinmu, the body-refining type dragon martial skill was the most effective type of dragon martial skill. The key was that it was easier to cultivate than others, but correspondingly, it would be more painful. Of course, this degree of pain was nothing to Kong Xinmu. Wild Wind Sprout. Wildfire Scorching Rock. Phantom Star Sand. A total of 9 different types of natural treasures were collected by Kong Xinmu. Only Donghuang Yangwu College could have such a complete inventory. If it was any other place, it would not be so easy for him to collect such a set. This set of 9 different types of natural treasures basically included all types of dragon martial artists' attributes. Of course, some special ones were not included. For the next half a month, Kong Xinmu devoured one of the natural treasures every 2 days to integrate it into his body-refining type dragon martial skill, the chaotic dragon body. When he had devoured all 9 types of natural treasures, his chaotic dragon body was equivalent to cultivating to the earth tier. This allowed his divine dragon body to have a 30% resistance against dragon warriors of all attributes. The strength of the chaotic dragon body was 3 times better than the chaotic dragon body that he had cultivated to the human tier. As for the specific effects, to put it simply, if he were to face the leader of the golden beam cat beasts again, he wouldn't need to devour the strength of the ordinary beam cat beasts to strengthen his resistance, and he would be able to easily resist the attacks of the golden beam cat beasts. This was a major breakthrough. For Kong Xinmu, it meant that the defense of his divine dragon body was stronger, and it would be harder for him to die in the future. With my previous strength, it was still a little difficult for me to enter the Kaiyang district of Donghuang Yangwu College, or I should say that I was just passing. But now, if Donghuang Yangwu College holds another competition, I will definitely be able to enter the Kaiyang district. Kong Xinmu thought to himself. But this was not enough for him. His goal was not just the Kaiyang district, but the deeper regions. His final goal must be the Divine Center district, where only 3 people were qualified to stay. Of course, his current strength was still a little far from the Divine Center district. But with his current speed of improvement, he would soon be able to enter the first 3 districts. This year's goal is to enter at least the 4th district, the Migres district. That way, my goal next year will be to break through from Dragon King to Dragon Emperor. Chapter 42-57. In a month's time, Jiang Xinwu had undergone a transformation that was akin to being reborn. His strength had more than doubled from before. His chaotic dragon body had been cultivated to the earth realm, causing his defense to increase explosively. Even the inheritors of the Dragon King, who were at the 9th stage of the Nirvana Tribulation realm, might not be able to hurt him. If he was allowed to devour some of his opponent's power, he might even dare to fight a Rebirth Tribulation realm existence head-on. Of course, if it was a higher-level Rebirth Tribulation realm existence, he would not be a match for them. Right now, he could at most try to fight against a first-stage Rebirth Tribulation realm existence, and he might not be able to defeat them. After all, he knew nothing about the Rebirth Tribulation realm. This realm was much stronger than the Nirvana Tribulation realm. After going through Nirvana and reincarnation, the strength of one's talent had increased by at least several times. Moreover, it was impossible for ordinary people to reach the Rebirth Tribulation realm. If one's combat strength was too low, they would not even be able to survive the Nirvana Tribulation, let alone the Rebirth Tribulation. Therefore, those who could survive the Rebirth Tribulation must be very strong. Kong Xinmu did not think too much about it. Rice had to be eaten 1 bite at a time, and a journey had to be taken 1 step at a time. He was already quite satisfied with such a huge improvement this month. There were still more than 10 months before the next Donghuang Yangwu College competition. During this period of time, he would be quite satisfied if he could have such an improvement twice. In the following month, just like before, Kong Xinmu continuously went to the Experience Stone Tablet to complete Donghuang Yangwu College's experience missions. These training missions were not difficult for him, because his strength had already surpassed his current status. In Donghuang Yonggu College, the levels were generally divided according to the cultivation area. The closer one was to the inner area to cultivate, the more difficult the experience missions would be. Naturally, the rewards would be higher as well. Therefore, the missions that Kong Xinmu had completed were not challenging at all. They were not even of any use to him. To him, they were purely for the sake of gaining experience points. Under such circumstances, his efficiency of gaining experience points did not increase much. After all, many training missions required him to find a target. Spending most of his time on the road made Kong Xinmu a little uncomfortable. He actually wanted to accept those more difficult experience missions. Completing one was equivalent to completing 2 normal experience missions. That would be more comfortable. Therefore, half a month ago, he had asked Lin Yuji to call him if there was any mission that was suitable for multiple people. After all, Lin Yuji was a student cultivating in Kaiyang District. The training missions she could receive were a level higher than those Kong Xinmu could receive. For example, it was Lin Yuji who had accepted the mission to find the Liang Cat Beast. If it had been any other student in the Alcade District, they wouldn't have been qualified to accept it. In other words, the mission of the Liang Cat Beast required a student from Kaiyang District to lead the team. This reflected the difficulty of the training mission. Now that Kong Xinmu's strength had completely reached the standard of Kaiyang District, he was qualified to go to Kaiyang District to cultivate. At least, Lin Yuji was no longer a match for Kong Xinmu. It was just that others didn't know yet. After Kaiyang District was Yuheng District. Kong Xinmu guessed that with his current strength, he shouldn't be too far away from the experts of Yuheng District. Even if he fought against the experts of Yuheng District, he wouldn't lose miserably. He definitely had the strength to fight. And most importantly, as long as he didn't kill Kong Xinmu in one hit, Kong Xinmu would never lose. Finally, after Kong Xinmu had saved up another month's worth of experience points, he had a total of 2 months' worth of experience points, which allowed him to exchange for many heaven and earth treasures. After absorbing all of them, he was not far from the 5th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm. At this time, Lin Yuji sent him a message, asking him to go to the Experience Stone Tablet and participate in a more difficult experience mission with her. Kong Xinmu was excited. It was finally here. Now he was already at the 4th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm, only a step away from the 5th level. The experience points from the previous 2 months had been used to exchange for heaven and earth treasures. What he needed now was an evenly matched battle, not more heaven and earth treasures. If he didn't have enough understanding of the 5th level, then no matter how many heaven and earth treasures he had, he still wouldn't be able to break through. That was purely because he wasn't mature enough. Therefore, there was a more difficult experience mission that was suitable for him to break through. So early the next morning, he went to the Experience Stone Tablet. In the clouds, he saw a man and a woman standing near the Trial Stone Tablet. They seemed to be discussing something. Lin Yuji's talent is not bad. It's very likely that in the next 2 competitions, she will be able to come to our Yuheng District to cultivate. So, this time, I'll bring her along to form a good relationship. The young man said indifferently. Brother Long, I think you're interested in her, right? The woman smiled and didn't care at all. It was obvious that she had no interest in the young man. Don't talk nonsense. The young man shook his head and said coldly, but Lin Yuji is a good person. To me, she's a good candidate for a wife. However, I heard that she also brought along a guy from the Yaoguang district. It's Kong Xinmu, who was seriously injured by her in the last competition. The woman chuckled. It said that Kong Xinmu went out with her and completed a difficult mission. The Sacred Abyss Dragon Country hasn't found out about it yet, and in the end, even the teachers were alerted. It said that Kong Xinmu's performance was even better than Lin Yuji's. Donghuang Yonggu College is a place where geniuses gather. The young man didn't have any special expression. Instead, he said indifferently, it's not unusual for 1 or 2 geniuses to appear. Many facts show that Kong Xinmu is also a talent. It just so happens that he's coming to this experience mission. Let's see how much he's grown. Maybe he's qualified to be my friend? The young man said with a smirk. Seeing him like this, the woman didn't say anything else, because she saw that in the sky behind her, Jiang Shenwu, who had transformed into a black divine dragon, was already nearby. Kong Xinmu is here. The woman pointed behind the young man with her lips. Lin Yuji is here too. The young man looked behind the woman. The four of them gathered together. Since it was a four-person mission, they needed to have a certain level of understanding and trust between each other. At the very least, their strength had to match, and they couldn't be too weak. Otherwise, they wouldn't be of any use in the training mission, and would only be a burden. The fact that Kang Shinmu and Lin Yuji joined them meant that they recognized their strength, or at least their talent. They were willing to help them. Kang Shinmu, we meet again. Lin Yuji appeared behind them in human form and smiled at Kang Shinmu. Kang Shinmu naturally heard the conversation between the young man and the woman. Fortunately, they didn't seem to be hostile toward him. Chapter 42-58. Luo Han and Su Qin were the names of the young man and girl. Both of them came from Donghuang Yonggu College in Kaiyang District and were at the 9th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm. Most importantly, they had the essence blood of the Divine Dragon. They had broken through to the Dragon King level a long time ago. People like them had better control of the Nirvana Force and the essence blood of the Divine Dragon. Even Kang Shinmu might not be a match for them. Most importantly, they might have spent more than 10 years in Donghuang Yonggu College. This amount of time was sufficient for their attainments in the Origin Dragon martial techniques to far surpass Jiang Shenwu's level. Of course, Kang Shinmu was their comrade in arms anyway. At most, they would fight against each other in the college tournament. By then, Kang Shinmu would have definitely surpassed them, so there was no need to be too concerned. This mission is located in the nearby Yen Yuan Dragon Country. After everyone had arrived, Luo Han began to introduce the mission and said in a deep voice, "This mission can be said to be difficult, but it can also be said to be simple. The Yen Yuan Dragon Country has recently been attacked by a demonic beast. It is a demonic fish that can fly in the sky. It is characterized by its strong attack, fast speed, and strong senses. As long as there is a slight disturbance, the demonic beast will immediately flee and will not fight the dragon martial artists head-on. When the surrounding area is safe, the demonic beast will appear again to hunt the human civilians of the Yen Yuan Dragon Country." This introduction confused Kang Shinmu. Even if the students of Donghuang Yonggu College were to deal with this demonic beast, they might not be able to kill it. After all, the demonic beast was too vigilant. Once something stronger than it appeared, it would immediately flee. It even had a special ability to escape. It would definitely not be easy to catch it. However, Lin Yuji seemed to have come to a sudden realization. "I see. So, we need to use the concealing water that Donghuang Yonggu College can brew." Concealing water? Kang Shinmu was even more confused. The hidden water is something that only our Donghuang Yonggu College can brew. The young man, Luo Han, glanced at him and explained, "After we're covered in the concealing liquid, it won't hide our tracks, but rather our true strength. It is said that if an expert on the level of Dragon Emperor comes near, the flying fish beast will immediately flee. If it's at the level of the Dragon King, as long as it's above the 6th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm, it will immediately escape. And after we're tainted with the concealment water, we'll be able to maintain our auras at around the 3rd level of the Nirvana Tribulation stage. In this way, as long as the flying fish beast becomes interested in us and attacks us, we'll be able to find an opportunity to kill it." Hearing this, Kang Shinmu finally understood the situation. In the end, the Yen Yuan Longua really couldn't deal with the hornfish beast. Even though the Yen Yuan Longua had experts on the level of Dragon Emperor and even many Rebirth Tribulation Realm experts, their auras were too strong. Once they got close, the flying fish beast would flee. According to Luo Han, the Yen Yuan Longua had even launched several encirclements against the flying fish beast, but it had always managed to escape. Therefore, they had no choice but to seek help from Donghuang Yonggu College. Because Donghuang Yonggu College had something like the concealing water, it would obviously be easier to deal with the flying fish beast. The concealing water was unique to Donghuang Yonggu College, and it wasn't for sale. Therefore, they could only rely on the students of Donghuang Yonggu College to do it. The flying fish beast's true strength was equivalent to a 9th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm Dragon King's inheritor. Therefore, on the Experience Stone Tablet, this mission could only be accepted by students from Kaiyang District. In addition, the flying fish beast is cunning. Once it discovers that something is amiss, it is very likely to flee, so we need a way to trap it. At this point, the young man Luo Han looked at Kang Shinmu and said, "Kang Shinmu, It is said that your divine dragon body is very strong, and you cultivate a body-tempering dragon martial technique. Do you think you can withstand the flying fish beast's attack? This was very important, and was also the main reason why Luo Han and Xueqi agreed to let Kong Xinmu participate in this mission. Because if they used a defensive dragon martial technique to block the flying fish beast's attack, it was very likely that the flying fish beast would immediately discover that something was amiss and flee. But if it was Kong Xinmu, this problem wouldn't exist. The body-tempering dragon martial technique made his divine dragon body extremely strong, and he could even withstand the flying fish beast's attack with just his physical body alone. Not only could he withstand it, but he could also prevent the flying fish beast from detecting any abnormalities. And when its attack landed on Kong Xinmu's divine dragon body, in such a close distance, Kong Xinmu could then think of a way to trap the flying fish beast. Against the anglerfish beast, all kinds of array formations and props were useless. This was because the flying fish beast seemed to be able to travel through space, and even some formations that could trap experts would not be able to trap it. To be honest, even if the mission was handed over to Donghuang Yanggu College, the people from Yen Yuan Dragon Country were not very confident that they could deal with the flying fish beast. Even the young man Luo Han and Xueqi only wanted to give it a try, and did not have 100% confidence. But now that they heard about Kong Xinmu from Lin Yuji, they felt that the chances of success were higher this time. Because there were too few dragon martial artists who cultivated a body-tempering dragon martial technique. In the whole of Donghuang Yanggu College, Kong Xinmu was probably the only one. Resist the flying fish beast's attack. When Kong Xinmu heard this, his face darkened. I don't know if it will work, but as long as the flying fish beast doesn't kill me in one attack, I can trap it. With the physical strength of the divine dragon body, he could capture the flying fish beast. If he captured its body, it would not be able to use its ability to escape. This was the only way to capture the flying fish beast. The other way was to use the concealment water to get close to it and kill it in a flash. But the possibility of this was extremely low. If it was possible, the Yen Yuan Dragon Country would not be so helpless. Although they did not have the concealment water, they still had many powerful dragon martial artists who could attack from a distance. One could imagine that the flying fish beast was really as timid as a mouse. Of course, in order to survive, it could only be as timid as a mouse. Before we set off, I want to understand the flying fish beast. If I make sufficient preparations, I should be able to do it. Kong Xinmu concluded. He was not sure if he could withstand a single attack from the flying fish beast. Chapter 42-59. Since Kong Xinmu said so, Luo Han and Xueqi were satisfied. Anyway, as long as Kong Xinmu said it was okay, then it was okay. The most important point of this mission was Kong Xinmu, not them. Kong Xinmu was indispensable, and the other three, no matter who it was, would be fine. Then, the four of them agreed to set off the next day. Then, the four of them went to search for information about the horned fish beast. Because Kong Xinmu's palace was located in the Alcade district, it was the closest to the East Emperor Formation, so they all went to Kong Xinmu's palace. In Donghuang Yanggu College, every student's palace had a library, and the books in the library recorded a lot of common knowledge about monsters, cultivation, and so on. The four of them came together and quickly found information about the horned fish beast. This is a dark attribute monster, Kong Xinmu. You can prepare in advance. If you're not sure, you can take some enhancement elixirs to resist the dark attribute. Luo Han and Xueqi said to Kong Xinmu with a smile. Kong Xinmu nodded. Although he said so, in fact, Kong Xinmu naturally would not prepare that kind of enhancement elixir. After all, that kind of enhancement elixir not only did not have a strong effect, but it also had a certain side effect. If taken too much, it would be detrimental to future cultivation. Moreover, Kong Xinmu had his own means. After looking for information, Luo Han and Xueqi left together. Lin Yuji originally wanted to stay with Kong Xinmu for the night, running errands with him. But there were many things about Kong Xinmu that she could not know, so Kong Xinmu sent her away. After everyone left, Kong Xinmu went to the East Emperor Formation alone. In the East Emperor Formation, he chose a destination, spent a small amount of experience points, and instantly teleported to a dark forest. This dark forest was a suitable place for new students to train. In this dark forest, there were all kinds of dark attribute monsters, usually used for new students to practice their newly learned dragon skills. But now, it became the best place for Kong Shinmu to enhance his resistance to darkness. At night, the sounds of insects could be heard everywhere in the gloomy jungle. Occasionally, there would be the sounds of battle. There were students of the Eastern Emperor Dragon Martial Academy, who were experimenting with their newly learned dragon martial skills. And Kong Shinmu directly turned into a black dragon and flew towards the depths of the dark forest. Usually, there weren't many students from the Eastern Emperor Dragon Martial Academy that came to Gloomy Jungle. Therefore, the demonic beasts in Gloomy Jungle were considered to be living normally in this jungle and wouldn't be too vigilant. Moreover, the purpose of Kong Shinmu coming here was not to kill the beasts, but to be beaten up by them. Just like that, he wandered aimlessly through the dark and dense forest, acting as if he wasn't vigilant at all. Not long after, when he stopped at an empty space in the dense forest, he felt that some powerful monsters had already secretly surrounded him. He simply pretended that he did not notice, stopped in the forest, and started to rest. Immediately, 3 shadow cheetahs pounced towards him, like 3 black arrows, directly shooting towards Kong Shinmu's black dragon body. Towards dragon martial artists, demonic beasts originally had some natural hatred in their hearts. In addition, the most important thing was that Kong Shinmu's cultivation was only at the 4th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm, which made the surrounding demonic beasts want to kill Kong Shinmu. There were many demonic beasts, and endless shadow power swept towards Kong Shinmu. Unfortunately, this level of power was not a threat to Kong Shinmu at all. He just stayed where he was, not moving at all, and only covered his black dragon body with the devouring Nirvana force. When the shadow power fell on Kong Shinmu, it was completely devoured by Kong Shinmu, and turned into his own resistance against the dark power. The clever lupus fish beast's attack was extremely strong. Even the 9th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm, who had inherited the essence blood of the Dragon King, would be injured by it. However, its defense was very poor, so Kong Shinmu only needed to resist its attack once, and then suppress it, and the others could directly eliminate it at the fastest speed. Therefore, Kong Shinmu needed to be prepared in advance, lest he failed miserably. Although he had improved a lot recently, the opponents he faced were much more ferocious than before. The instantaneous explosive power of the lupus fish beast was probably several times stronger than the golden beam cat beast he encountered before. At this moment, in the dark jungle, Kong Shinmu was constantly being beaten by demonic beasts. Moreover, because he did not fight back, the number of demonic beasts that came to beat him increased. Unfortunately, no matter how those demonic beasts attacked, Kong Shinmu's divine dragon body was still towering like a mountain. These demonic beasts did not know that their power had all become Kong Shinmu's nourishment. After cultivating the chaotic dragon body to the earth stage, Kong Shinmu's resistance against the dark power had increased a lot, and now that he was devouring more and more dark power, it made him an impregnable existence when facing opponents with the dark attribute. The night was getting darker and darker, until the sky gradually brightened, and the next morning arrived. Kong Shinmu's divine dragon body stretched on the spot. This action made the large group of dark demonic beasts that were beating him retreat into the dark jungle and hide as if they had seen a ghost. They could not understand how this dragon warrior could be so powerful, and even sleep while they were beating and attacking him. Moreover, this dragon warrior was clearly only at the 4th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm. His cultivation level was very low. No matter how they thought about it, this was the truth. When Kong Shinmu woke up, these demonic beasts scattered like birds and did not dare to stay here. Kong Shinmu sensed his own situation and was immediately satisfied. Not to mention the Dragon King who was at the 9th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm, even if it was a Dragon Emperor expert of this level, as long as the power he used was of the dark attribute, he would not be able to hurt Kong Shinmu at all. After being beaten up for an entire night, Kong Shinmu's resistance to the dark power had reached its peak. Perhaps, only a reincarnation Tribulation Realm expert at the level of the Dragon Emperor would have the possibility of hurting Kong Shinmu. Of course, this was only limited to experts of the dark attribute. Otherwise, the power of other attributes would still be a strong threat to Kong Shinmu. When everything was ready, he returned to the place where the East Emperor Formation teleported from and teleported back to the East Emperor Formation of Donghuang Yonggu College. He directly waited at the East Emperor Formation. After about an hour, Luo Han and Su Qin finally brought Lin Yuji and rushed towards the East Emperor Formation. Chapter 4260. Dian Yuan Dragon Country. Luo Han, Su Qin, Kong Xinmu, and Lin Yuji teleported to this dragon country through the East Emperor Formation. Dian Yuan Dragon Country was 3 Dragon Emperor countries away from Donghuang Yonggu College, so it was considered a relatively close country. In this Dragon Emperor country, there were a total of 5 Dragon Emperor level experts. When Kong Xinmu and the others arrived, there were actually 3 Dragon Emperor experts coming to greet them. It was really a matter that even their Dragon Emperor couldn't solve, so they had to ask for help from Donghuang Yonggu College. "You're finally here." The 3 Dragon Emperors, when seeing Kong Xinmu and the others, were very humble. After all, they were asking for help. "Take us to the scene of the incident." Among the 4, Luo Han took the lead. Without any small talk, he directly proposed to deal with the anglerfish beast. To be honest, the anglerfish beast appears in a different place every time. "We also don't know where it is now," one of the Dragon Emperor experts said in a low voice, then said with some difficulty, "But we roughly know the strength of this hornfish beast, and the habits of the hornfish beast. The stronger the dragon martialist, the more it likes to eat. If we want to lure it out, the best way is to let the dragon martialist whose strength is closest to that line lure it out. This anglerfish beast is probably at the 9th level of the Nirvana Tribulation realm. The purity of its demon beast bloodline is equivalent to the Dragon King's inherited blood essence. Generally speaking, if it is a 5th level Nirvana Tribulation realm dragon warrior, it is its favorite food. If it is a 6th level dragon warrior, it will be very careful." Hearing this, Luo Han nodded. "We will pretend to be a 3rd level Nirvana Tribulation realm dragon warrior to lure it closer. Once it gets close, you have to find a way to suppress it, otherwise it will slip away," one of the Dragon Emperor reminded. "That's no problem." This question was answered by Kong Xinmu. The 4 Dragon Emperor glanced at Kong Xinmu, all of them looking a little surprised. They saw that Kong Xinmu was only at the 4th level of the Nirvana Tribulation realm. They did not know if he had already used the effect of the concealment water. If he had already used the effect of the concealing water, then Kong Xinmu's cultivation realm would at least be at the 9th level of the Nirvana Tribulation realm, or even the 1st level of the Rebirth Tribulation realm. But Kong Xinmu seemed to be following behind Luo Han and the others. The Dragon Emperor's experts observed their expressions and found that among the 4 of them, it was obvious that Luo Han was the leader. Kong Xinmu was only following behind and following orders. In other words, his true cultivation was at the 4th level of the Nirvana Tribulation realm. With this kind of strength, he also came to participate in the battle against the horned fish beasts. For a moment, the 4 Dragon Emperor's experts were a little displeased. They felt that this was Donghuang Yonggu College not taking them seriously, not taking the Luo fish beast seriously. Even the Dragon Emperor's experts could not solve the problem. What use could this little Nirvana Tribulation realm 4th level Dragon King come over? The most important thing was that Kong Xinmu had just answered that there was no problem, and it was directed at them, reminding them to suppress the Luo fish beast. Could it be that this kid had a way to suppress the Luo fish beast? They always felt that it was too childish. But since they were already here, they couldn't possibly chase them away. They could only let them be. Anyway, if the horned fish beast was not dealt with, then what? Anyway, if the Luo fish beast was not solved, they had the right to apply to Donghuang Yonggu College and ask them to send more reliable people. There was still a possibility of failure in Donghuang Yonggu College's training mission, and the number of failures was not small. Every time this happened, they would ask Donghuang Yonggu College to send more powerful people, and if the students could not solve the problem, the tutors would step in. All in all, as long as they sent a mission to Donghuang Yonggu College, there would rarely be a situation where they could not complete it. Solving the problem was almost a certainty. Next, they began to make arrangements. The 4 Dragon Emperor's experts gathered together, took out a map, and handed it to Luo Han and the others. On this map, the location of the horned fish beast's every appearance is marked. As for whether we can rely on this to find it or lure it out, it will be up to you. I hope that the next time the horned fish beast appears, it will be captured by you. The 4 Dragon Emperor's experts had a headache. Because every time the Luo fish beast appeared, a Nirvana Tribulation realm Dragon King or a Reincarnation realm Heavenly Dragon expert would be killed, and even several of them would die at once. The Luo fish beast had appeared a total of 7 times, and the Dian Yuan Dragon Country had already suffered heavy losses. Luo Han took the map and began to search for the location of the Luo fish beast on the map, trying to find a pattern. We will go to the center of these places. There is a Tianyang village there, and there are relatively few powerful dragon martial artists. Luo Han quickly pointed to a place on the map and said, "If we go there, we will easily attract the Luo fish beast's attention. As long as it is nearby, it will likely target us." "I agree." Xueqi nodded and studied the map carefully. She also felt that it was better to lure it there. "Lin Yuji, Kong Shinmu, what do you think?" Luo Han did not make an arbitrary decision, but passed the map to Kong Shinmu and Lin Yuji to observe. Kong Shinmu glanced at it, but did not think much of it. Now that they had no clue where the Luo fish beast was, they could only go to the center of the circle where the Luo fish beast appeared every time to lure it. "I think we can." In the end, Kong Shinmu and Lin Yuji also nodded in agreement. Thus, the plan was decided. The entire Yen Yuan Dragon Country was relatively large. Under the guidance of the Dragon Emperor, the four flew towards Tianyang village. It would take them about a day and a half to arrive. In the last half-day, the Dragon Emperor did not lead the way. "The four of you can go on your own. If our Dragon Emperor appears nearby, the Luo fish beast will definitely not take the bait." Luo Han nodded. Seeing the four of them fly towards Tianyang village, the two Dragon Emperor experts looked at each other and saw a kind of helplessness in each other's eyes. This time, they really felt that the hope was not high. If all four of them are at the 9th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm, the hope would be higher. But they brought an 8th level Nirvana Tribulation Realm, and even a 4th level Nirvana Tribulation Realm. Does that kid have something to do with it? Who knows? The other Dragon Emperor shook his head. It was obvious that he also had some opinions about Kong Shinmu. A mere 4th level Nirvana Tribulation Realm coming to join in the fun would probably be bitten to death by the Luo fish beast. However, they did not say anything on the surface. They were just worried that they would not succeed this time. If they did not succeed, it meant that the Yen Yuan Dragon Country would suffer more casualties. Chapter 4261. Tianyang Village. This was a small village with only 200 people, belonging to a dragon warrior tribe. They chose this village as the bait because it was sparsely populated, and if a fight broke out, it wouldn't cause too much damage and harm the people. When Kong Shinmu and the rest arrived at the village, it was evening. There was only one inn in the entire village, and it was located on the side of the official road. There was no need to talk about the decorations, and naturally, it wasn't that particular. However, Kong Shinmu and the rest were here to deal with the horned fish beast, so they couldn't be picky about the environment. They stayed at the inn, and the lady boss of the inn was still charming, and was very warm to them. It was obvious that there were few outsiders in this village, and even fewer dragon warriors. Needless to say, there were a few young dragon warriors, and their auras were extremely extraordinary. They weren't ordinary dragon warriors. How could the lady boss dare to be negligent? They asked for a total of 2 rooms, and for convenience, Kong Shinmu and Luo Han stayed together, while Lin Yuji and Xueqi shared a room. Even at night, they didn't sleep, and were constantly vigilant of their surroundings. Unfortunately, after a night, nothing strange happened in Tianyang village. Kong Shinmu and the rest watched for a night without any results. Not to mention the horned fish beast, they didn't even see the shadow of a demon beast. "Let's stay another day." Luo Han made a decision. According to the frequency of the horned fish beast's appearance, it should appear once every 7 days. It's only been 5 days since it last appeared, so we can wait for another 2 to 3 days. This speculation was very reasonable, and Kong Shinmu also agreed. They stayed in Tianyang village. Fortunately, they were all dragon warriors with higher cultivation, so it wouldn't be a big deal even if they didn't rest for a few nights, but their mental state would be slightly worse. The lady boss was very happy that they continued to stay, and took the initiative to send them food the next day. To be honest, the taste was not bad. Kong Shinmu didn't stay idle during this period of time either. The horned fish beast always appeared at night, so at night, the 4 of them were in the same cultivation state. During the day, Kong Shinmu found a quiet corner and squatted there. He swallowed the heavenly materials and earthly treasures that he hadn't absorbed in a while ago and continued to improve his cultivation. If I can complete this mission, I will have enough experience points to exchange for more natural treasures and cultivate my chaotic dragon body all the way to dragon grade. Even if one had sufficient natural treasures, It would be very difficult to raise the level of a body-tempering dragon martial technique. This was because the body-tempering dragon martial technique required the user to be continuously injured, then recover, get injured again and recover again. It was the same for the chaotic dragon body. Previously, when Kong Shin-mu was cultivating, it was not very obvious. Because it had been too long since he had cultivated to the earth rank, his previous injuries could be considered as cultivating the chaotic dragon body. He had long reached the bottleneck. After devouring so many treasures of heaven and earth a while ago, he took the opportunity to rise to the earth tier. However, if he wanted to break through to the dragon realm, it wouldn't be so easy. Apart from needing to absorb all kinds of heavenly treasures, he would also need to keep getting injured, recovering, getting injured again, and recovering again. Xiao Chen had to repeat this countless times before his primal chaos dragon body could break through to a higher level. This time, dealing with the horned fish beast was also an opportunity. Anyway, as long as Kong Shin-mu didn't die, he could rely on the devouring power to quickly heal himself. Even if he was seriously injured and on the verge of death, it would be more beneficial for him to cultivate the chaotic dragon body. As such, until the third night, Kong Shin-mu and Luo Han were on guard in a room. Suddenly, Kong Shin-mu seemed to have sensed something and quietly looked out the window. It seems like it's here. Kong Shin-mu suddenly became a little nervous. However, he glanced at Luo Han, who was lying on the bed motionless, not even opening his eyes, as if he didn't notice anything. His hiding ability is better than mine. Kong Shin-mu felt a little ashamed. He felt that Luo Han must have sensed something, but he didn't show anything strange, unlike Kong Shin-mu who looked out the window. However, what Kong Shin-mu didn't know was that Luo Han didn't sense anything at all and was still on guard. As for why Kong Shin-mu could sense it, it was because he had the aura of the horned ink beast on him. The horned ink beast had always been on his body, in his shadow. In terms of hiding ability, the horned ink beast was much better than the horned fish beast. So when the horned fish beast appeared, even though it was very cautious and didn't make any movements, it was still sensed by the horned ink beast. Then, the horned ink beast reminded Kong Shin-mu. Unfortunately, Kong Shin-mu didn't know that the horned ink beast had followed him all the way here. If this little fellow hid, no one would know where it was. It could appear at any time and anywhere. At this moment, the horned ink beast's perception was divided into half for Kong Shin-mu. This made Kong Shin-mu feel more and more strange. Because he realized that it could easily sense the movements outside. It slowly snuck into Tianyang village, but there was no movement at all, and it was getting closer and closer to their inn. What made Kong Shin-mu feel strange was that not only was there no movement, even Luo Han and the two female students next door didn't move at all. But he could sense it. What's going on? He quickly realized that the movement went all the way to the inn and flew up from the back. It actually stuck to the wall and snuck into the room the two female students were in. It's coming, be careful. Kong Shin-mu finally decided to take action. He instantly jumped out of the window and transformed into his black divine dragon form. On the wall outside the window, a huge black shadow stuck to the wall. It wanted to quickly sneak into the room and attack the two female students, but Kong Shin-mu suddenly appeared and gave it a fright. That thing was indeed the horned ink beast. It was a flying fish with a pair of wings. Its body was flat and its eyes were cold and alert. When Kong Shin-mu appeared, it reacted immediately. It turned back and a wave of shadow attribute energy landed on Kong Shin-mu's black dragon body along with its teeth. This horned ink beast had the combat power of a 9th-level Nirvana Tribulation Realm cultivator, so it wasn't afraid of Kong Shin-mu at all. After all, Luo Han and Xueqi had used the concealment water and felt that they were only at the 3rd level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm. As for Lin Yuji, it was even lower, only at the 2nd level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm. Originally, the horned ink beast wanted to attack the two weaker female students, but it didn't expect that Kong Shin-mu would be so alert and run out. Even so, it wasn't afraid. After all, Kong Shin-mu was only at the 4th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm. What's going on? Chapter 4262. Luo Han, Xueqi, and Lin Yuji came to their senses and realized that the morel fish beast had attacked without warning. They broke out in cold sweat as they watched the morel fish beast attack Kong Shin-mu's black dragon form. If not for Kong Shin-mu's timely transformation into a dragon, they would have died today. Even if they used the concealment water and their strength far exceeded the morel fish beast's expectations, once they were attacked by the morel fish beast from the dark, even they would most likely suffer severe injuries. Moreover, the morel fish beast would definitely notice that something was wrong and flee. By then, their efforts these few days would have been in vain. But they were not in a hurry. After all, the morel fish beast had just launched its attack on Kong Shinmu, and Kong Shinmu had not restrained the morel fish beast yet. Once they revealed their true strength, the morel fish beast would probably turn and flee. At this moment, they were all looking out the window from inside the room. The two black behemoths finally collided with each other. A terrifying force swept out and an endless storm erupted in all directions. The entire Tianyang village was shaken by the impact of both sides. When the dust settled, Luo Han, Xueqi, and Lin Yuji were extremely nervous. They fixed their eyes on the battlefield and were instantly overjoyed. Because they saw that the giant flying fish, the black morel fish beast, had actually bitten Kong Shinmu's black dragon form. Endless darkness attribute energy enveloped Kong Shinmu's body, causing him to be covered in divine dragon blood as though he was seriously injured. In reality, Kong Shinmu's injuries were only superficial wounds. He had gone to the gloomy jungle to devour too much darkness attribute energy, causing his divine dragon body to be extremely resistant to darkness attribute energy. At this moment, the morel fish beast's most important attack was the corrosive power of darkness attribute energy. They were all superficial wounds and could not break through his black dragon skin to corrode his body. Instead, Kong Shinmu made his move, using his dragon claws to clamp down on the morel fish beast's body tightly. His devouring power instantly erupted and enveloped the other party's entire body. Got him. Let's go. Kong Shinmu let out a loud roar, and the voice of a divine dragon spread thousands of miles away. How could Luo Han, Xueqi, and Lin Yuji hesitate? They made a prompt decision to unleash the formidable power that originally belonged to them, the 9th and 8th tier of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm, in addition to the powerful origin dragon martial skill that the three of them had cultivated. A terrifying destructive force swept out like a storm, bombarding the body of the loach fish beast. When they started to explode, the manta rays sensed that something was wrong and wanted to escape. However, its entire body was firmly gripped by Kong Shinmu's dragon claws. Moreover, the devouring power had also affected its abilities, making it unable to break free no matter how it struggled. Immediately, the three origin source dragon martial skills bombarded the flying fish beast's body, instantly penetrating its fragile body. The reason why the horned fish beast was so cautious was because of its fragility. If it wasn't careful, it would have long died in the hands of unknown people. Although its offensive ability had reached the level of the 9th tier of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm, its defensive ability could not even be compared to the 1st tier of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm Dragon King. Because it had no defensive means at all, and dragon martial artists could still cultivate defensive dragon martial skills. In the next moment, the flying fish beast's body was broken into 3 pieces. Countless pieces of flesh and blood splattered to the ground, and the smell of blood quickly spread in all directions. It's done. Luo Han and the others all breathed a sigh of relief. They didn't expect it to be so smooth, to actually kill the target in one go. Lin Yuji immediately came in front of Kong Shinmu and supported Kong Shinmu, who had returned to human form. Kong Shinmu, how are you? Are you all right? I'm fine. I'll be fine after a few days of rest. Kong Shinmu said with a smile. There was still some blood at the corner of his mouth. Luo Han and Xueqi also came up. They had some admiration for Kong Shinmu. Kong Shinmu, your physique is amazing, and we didn't even notice that guy approaching. How did you find out? I don't know, I just felt a killing intent coming, so I became vigilant and really found that guy. Kong Shinmu shook his head and didn't say anything. Even he himself didn't know why he could feel the horned fish beast approaching. Right now. He didn't even know that the horned fish beast had been following him. Kong Shinmu, you did the best in this experiential learning mission. You can take half of the mission's points, and the rest will be divided among the 3 of us. Xueqi's eyes rippled. She glanced at Lin Yuji and Luo Han and asked, what do the 2 of you think? I think there's no problem. Lin Yuji immediately expressed, a smile on her face. The way she looked at Kong Shinmu was a little different. She originally thought that Kong Shinmu was very strong. But now it seemed that Kong Shinmu's strength was far beyond her imagination. Not only could he block the horned fish beast's attack, they had never cultivated a body-tempering dragon martial skill, They didn't know how strong his physique was to be able to do that. But the key was that he was able to detect the horned fish beast's tracks in advance without the other three noticing. If not for Kong Shinmu's early detection, between Lin Yuji and Su Qin, at least one of them would have been seriously injured. Luo Han narrowed her eyes, then nodded. Yes, I also agree. When we go back, we can describe the details of the mission in detail. Otherwise, I'm afraid the mentor will not agree to this method of distribution. That's right, the mentor might think that we've received some benefits from Kong Shinmu. Lin Yuji also burst into laughter. As for the carcass of the horned fish beast and the frightened civilians of Tianyang village, Kong Shinmu and the others naturally didn't need to take care of it. This was the Yen Yuan Dragon Country's own matter. It was just a small matter to them. When the Dragon Emperor from the Yen Yuan Dragon Country came over and saw the carcass of the horned fish beast, he immediately gave Luo Han a thumbs up. The students of Donghuang Yonggu College are really amazing, admirable. This mission was all thanks to our brother Kong Shinmu. Luo Han was more humble, he didn't take the credit. If not for him, we wouldn't have been able to kill this beast so easily. What? The few Dragon Emperors looked at each other. They could all see the shock in each other's eyes. It was actually this Nirvana Tribulation 4th stage kid who contributed the most? The few Dragon Emperors almost didn't dare to believe it. But regardless of whether they believed it or not, Kong Shinmu wouldn't have anything to do with them from now on, unless he came back to the Yen Yuan Dragon Country for the mission, otherwise he really wouldn't see them for the rest of his life. After completing the mission, as expected, Kong Shinmu received half of the entire mission's points. Chapter 4263. Donghuang Longgu City. Kong Shinmu exchanged all his experience points for cultivation resources and then came to the charming inn. Princess Fire Phoenix and Ran Ran immediately surrounded him. We don't have enough cultivation resources now. When we have more in the future, I'll prepare some for you. Kong Shinmu still came back to see them every once in a while. Their cultivation speed was very fast, especially the Fire Phoenix Princess. Her cultivation realm was simply increasing with each passing day. As for Ran Ran, she was cultivating Jiang Shenwu's Void Dragon Raising Heavenbreak, and her progress was also extremely fast. It could be seen that the two girls' cultivation talent was very high, but they were delayed before. Princess Fire Phoenix was delayed by her father. As for Ran Ran, she was brought to the assassin organization and only practiced killing methods. She rarely improved her combat strength. If not, Kong Shinmu might not have been able to subdue her. Of course, Ran Ran was very attached to her now. As long as Kong Shinmu came back, Ran Ran would not even go to cultivate and would stick to Kong Shinmu. Kong Shinmu was also very helpless about this. He couldn't just drive her away, right? After staying at the charming inn for a day, Kong Shinmu planned to leave and return to Donghuang Yonggu College to cultivate. Just then, a beautiful figure appeared at the entrance of their courtyard. Yu Tianchong, who looked like a goddess, smiled and leaned on the mahogany door. Brother Jiang, I heard that you stole the limelight when you did a mission with two students from Yuhing District? How did you know? Kong Shinmu was a little puzzled. It's spreading like wildfire in the college now. Everyone says that you can go to Kaiyang District next year. Among all the students, you can be considered a first-class genius. Yu Tianchong covered her mouth and said with a chuckle. Kong Shinmu smiled and did not deny anything. In fact, if the college competition was held next year, his goal would at least be Yuhing District, not simply Kaiyang District. Kong Shinmu even planned to go deeper into the cultivation area to cultivate. After the Yuhing District was the Migres District, and after the Migres District was the Tianji District. Of course, it was not so easy to reach the Tianshu District where only the strongest experts could go, just like Yu Tianchong. After bidding farewell to Yu Tianchong and the other two women, Kong Shinmu returned to his palace in Donghuang Yonggu College. He was not in a hurry to raise the grade of the Divine Dragon Blood Essence, because it was more important for him to raise his combat power. In any case, there was less than a year before the next Donghuang Yonggu College tournament. During this time, unless he absorbed the Dragon Mark's energy freely, he would not make much progress in this aspect. However, he didn't dare to crazily absorb the Dragon Mark's energy. Once he revealed his devouring power, he would be in great trouble. Therefore, Kong Shinmu now focused on improving other aspects of his combat power. For example, his cultivation realm, dragon martial skills, and most importantly, his body refining dragon martial skills. After completing the hornless fish beast mission this time, the treasures of heaven and earth he exchanged for were enough for him to cultivate his chaotic dragon body to the dragon level, which would raise his resistance to various types of power to a new level. His defensive power would be even more terrifying than before. However, to cultivate his chaotic dragon body to the dragon level, in addition to absorbing those treasures of heaven and earth, he also needed to constantly get injured and then recover. This requirement was a bit high. The key was that there were not many people who could hurt Kong Shinmu now. Who should I look for? If Kong Shinmu wanted to cultivate this way, he would definitely expose his method of rapid recovery, so he had to find someone he could completely trust. This reminded him of a person, and that was Ran Ran. Whether it was Yu Tianchong, Lin Yuji, or Xueqi, he did not fully trust any of them. However, only Ran Ran and the Fire Phoenix Princess were people he could completely trust. There was no need to talk about the Fire Phoenix Princess. The grade of her divine dragon blood essence was not bad, but her cultivation realm was too low, and she had barely cultivated to the divine martial arts realm. It was not that her talent was not good, but the time she had started cultivating was too short. However, Ran Ran was different. Ran Ran's strength was similar to Kong Shinmu's, not to mention that her talent was outstanding, and she had already cultivated the Void Dragon Sky Raising Break to the dragon level. Coupled with her cultivation realm of the 7th level of the Nirvana Tribulation realm, she could completely injure Kong Shinmu. Then the key question was what Kong Shinmu relied on to recover from his injuries. Previously, during the Yen Dragon Emperor dynasty, Kong Shinmu relied on the energy of demon cores, but Donghuang Yonggu College could not exchange for demon cores. Could it be that I have to go to the Donghuang Dragon Martial City's trading house to buy it? At the thought of this, Kong Shinmu knew that he could only do this. He did not have any Donghuang Dragon Martial coins on him, but it was relatively easy for him to obtain them. In any case, he had cultivated the Void Dragon Sky Raising Break to the heaven level, so he could write down a cultivation manual and exchange it for some Donghuang Dragon Martial coins. If it was someone else who wanted to sell a Dragon Martial skill manual, the procedure would be rather complicated, and they would need to go through various verifications. First, they had to ensure that the Dragon Martial skill manual was harmless to the cultivator, and second, they had to determine the grade of the Dragon Martial skill manual. All the verifications would probably take more than a month. Kong Shinmu could not wait that long. Fortunately, he was a student of Donghuang Yonggu College. As long as he was a student of Donghuang Yonggu College, there was no need for these two verifications. In any case, if something happened to the cultivator, he could find someone else. Unless the student of Donghuang Yonggu College was dead, they could definitely be found, especially if there was a problem. Therefore, Kong Shinmu's identity as a student was still very useful to him. Of course, he could not sell too many Void Dragon Sky Raising Break manuals at once. After all, if he did that, it would not be long before the whole world would be cultivating this Dragon Martial skill. He might even be beaten to death by this Dragon Martial skill. Therefore, for the sale of Dragon Martial skill manuals, many people were extremely careful. Unless it was a last resort, very few people would sell Dragon Martial skill manuals to exchange for resources. But Kong Shinmu had no other choice, so he could only do this. Most importantly, the Void Dragon Sky Raising Break was not learned from Donghuang Yonggu College, so Kong Shinmu had the right to record it down and sell it. If it was a Dragon Martial skill manual from Donghuang Yonggu College, then it was not for sale. If he was found to be selling the Academy's manuals, he would definitely be punished. A Void Dragon Raising Heaven Break Dragon Martial Technique secret manual could sell for a sky-high price. Chapter 4264. According to his own cultivation experience, Kong Shinmu wrote down a Void Dragon Raising the Heavens cultivation manual. With this manual, he could exchange for a large number of demonic cores, which he could swallow to recover from his injuries. Not only could it be used during cultivation, but it could also be used in battles. Most importantly, it only took him 3 days to write down this Void Dragon Raising the Heavens cultivation manual. To Kong Shinmu, this was the most efficient method. After writing it down, Kong Shinmu went to a random trading house in the East Imperial Dragon Martial City to exchange this manual for demonic cores. Among these Yao cores, apart from the ordinary Yao cores, there were even heavenly Yao cores and some even more powerful Yao cores. With so many demonic cores, it was enough for Kong Shinmu to cultivate his chaotic dragon body to the dragon grade. He might even be able to cultivate to the heaven grade. As long as Kong Shinmu had enough cultivation resources. If he succeeded in cultivating to the dragon grade, it would not be easy for Kong Shinmu to cultivate his chaotic dragon body to the heaven grade. That would require a large number of cultivation resources. Moreover, Kong Shinmu had to suffer multiple fatal injuries. Those fatal injuries. Kong Shinmu could easily recover from them, but it would not be easy to control the degree. At that time, he could only depend on how well he could cooperate with Ran Ran. After exchanging for a large number of demonic cores, Kong Shinmu called Ran Ran. The two of them quietly left the East Imperial Dragon Martial City and went to the vast forest where they had encountered the Nightmare Ink Beast. "Attack me!" Kong Shinmu turned into a dragon and said to Ran Ran. Ran Ran did not feel too good. "Are you sure?" "Of course I'm sure. I brought you out this time to help me cultivate my body-tempering dragon-type martial technique." Kong Shinmu explained again. Only by continuously getting injured will there be a chance to improve the body-tempering dragon-type martial technique. My recovery ability is very strong. You don't have to worry about me. Just attack me. Ran Ran was skeptical, but in the end, she still turned into a slender black dragon. Immediately after, she tried to use a dragon attack martial skill on Kong Shinmu. This dragon attack martial skill was a grade 2 dragon martial skill. Although it was not weak, it was not strong either. Especially now that Kong Shinmu's strength was much stronger than before. When this grade 2 dragon martial skill was displayed, the sky was filled with black dragon claws, and countless terrifying forces landed on Kong Shinmu's body. However, when the dust settled, Kong Shinmu's black dragon body was actually unscathed. The toughness of his divine dragon body was too high, so high that it was unbelievable. He had several body-tempering dragon martial techniques stacked together, as well as the origin body-tempering dragon martial technique, chaotic dragon body. How could he be injured so easily? Most importantly, Ran Ran's current strength was not considered strong. After all, she was only at the 7th level of Nirvana. At this age, having such a cultivation base was already quite impressive. One had to know that many Donghuang Yonggu College students only had such a low cultivation base even with sufficient cultivation resources. Kong Shinmu looked at the slender black dragon's astonished expression and found it somewhat funny. He said, "Come to think of it, the Donghuang Dragon Martial City's annual trial is about to begin. You and Fire Phoenix should prepare. If you can join Donghuang Yonggu College, that would be great. We can cultivate in the college together." Ran Ran nodded obediently. Of course, she also wanted to cultivate in Donghuang Yonggu College with Kong Shinmu, but she did not have the opportunity. In other places, if a dragon practitioner wanted to become a student of Donghuang Yonggu College, they could only go to a place like the Flame Dragon Sacred Tower and meet certain conditions to obtain the East Emperor Seal. Only with the East Emperor Seal could one enter Donghuang Yonggu College. But in Donghuang Dragon Martial City, as long as one could pass the annual Donghuang Yonggu College trial, they could become a student of Donghuang Yonggu College. Of course, it was said that the difficulty of Donghuang Yonggu College's trial was also extremely high. It might not even be easier than going through places like the Flame Dragon Sacred Tower. Every year, at most 1 or 2 genius dragon practitioners could pass the trial. Most of the time, not a single one could pass the trial after a year. Donghuang Dragon Martial City's trial and Donghuang Yonggu College's competition were staggered. Basically, half a year after Donghuang Yonggu College's competition, the Donghuang Dragon Martial City's trial would begin every year. Thus, this year's Donghuang Dragon Martial City's trial would begin in about 2 months. It was about time that Ran Ran and the Fire Phoenix made their preparations for that day. Of course, the Fire Phoenix had started cultivating quite late. If she went to participate in the trial now, her chances of passing were extremely low. However, Kong Shinmu felt that with Ran Ran's talent and strength, passing the trial shouldn't be too difficult. What's more, she also cultivated an extremely powerful origin dragon martial technique, the Dark Dragon Filth Mastery. Lower-tier origin skills, mid-tier origin skills, high-tier origin skills. Every time it increased in rank, the power of the origin dragon martial technique would increase by a large margin. And the Dark Dragon Filth Mastery was a high-tier origin dragon martial technique. Kong Shinmu had also cultivated it now, so he was very clear on how powerful the regenerative effects of this origin dragon martial technique were. In fact, it wasn't inferior to the regenerative effects of his own devouring power. The only drawback was that when the dark dragon filth mastery recovered, it expended a large amount of energy. In this regard, it couldn't compare to his devouring power. Kong Shinmu shook his head and didn't think too much about it. Right now, it was time for him to cultivate. When she discovered that her Grade 2 Origin Dragon Martial Technique couldn't harm Kong Shinmu at all, Ran Ran stuck out her tongue. She finally knew that Kong Shinmu was confident. Immediately afterwards, she began to use the Void Dragon Heaven-Raising Burst that she had just cultivated to attack Kong Shinmu. Although it was only a low-tier Origin skill, it was still an Origin Dragon Martial Technique. In addition, Ran Ran was more compatible with Darkness-type energy, so when she used the Void Dragon Heaven-Raising Burst, its power increased. Even though she hadn't cultivated the Void Dragon Heaven-Raising Burst to the highest Heaven tier, Ran Ran's attack power was enough to injure Kong Shinmu. Of course, the injuries were very light. After attacking 10 times in a row, Kong Shinmu finally felt as if he had been seriously injured. Although his entire body was in pain, Kong Shinmu quickly recovered to his peak condition through the use of his devouring power. Again, Kong Shinmu said. This was only one healing session. If he wanted to cultivate the chaotic dragon body to a higher level, he would need to heal at least 100 times, or even 1,000 times. Most importantly, he might need to be seriously injured and on the verge of death once or twice. Otherwise, he might never be able to raise the chaotic dragon body to the dragon tier. To Kong Shinmu, this was a long and drawn-out trial. To Ran Ran it was the same. Chapter 4265. If Ran Ran practiced alone, every time she used the Void Dragon Sky Raising Break a certain number of times, her strength would be exhausted, and she would need to rest for a period of time before she could continue. But now, she was with Kong Shinmu. In order to practice the chaotic dragon body fast enough, every time Ran Ran was exhausted, Kong Shinmu would use his devouring power to transfer his own strength into her body. And Kong Shinmu's strength came from the beast cores that he had exchanged not long ago. He had a lot of beast cores on him, and through the devouring power, he could completely transform them into his own strength, or even transform them into other people's strength. Most importantly, he could continuously recover from his injuries. After a day, Ran Ran used the Void Dragon Sky Raising Break at least 200 to 300 times, and her understanding of this dragon origin skill had suddenly risen to another level. Originally, the Void Dragon Sky Raising Break she practiced had already reached the dragon level, and now it was rapidly advancing towards the strongest heaven level. Probably in a few days, she would be able to find the feeling. As for when she could finally break through, it would depend on her luck and comprehension ability. At the end of the day, the two of them rested. They did not return to the charming inn, but rested in the wild. After the two of them stopped practicing, they returned to their human forms. As usual, Ran Ran stuck to Kong Shinmu's body. Bursts of fragrance assaulted Kong Shinmu, making him a little restless. It must be said that this was an extremely attractive girl. Due to habit, she still liked to wear tight black clothes, which vividly outlined her attractive figure. When she stuck to Kong Shinmu's body, Kong Shinmu only felt a burst of softness in his arms, and there was a feeling of reluctance to let go. However, now that Ran Ran had lost her memories, Kong Shinmu naturally could not take advantage of her. Moreover, his feelings for Ran Ran was a little like that of an older brother to his younger sister, so of course he would not do anything excessive to her. The next day, the two of them continued to practice. Ran Ran was preparing for the trial, while Kong Shinmu was preparing for next year's school competition. Both sides had their own goals. Keep fighting. This time, Kong Shinmu had suffered an extremely serious injury and could not even stand up. His black dragon body fell to the ground. His injuries had reached the limit. We can't continue. Brother Jiang, you should recover first. Ran Ran's heart ached for him, and she couldn't bear to continue hitting him. Don't worry, 2 more times. You see, I can still talk, which means I can hold on. Kong Shinmu grinned, and this grin caused blood to gush out from the corner of his mouth. The young girl felt as if her heart was being pierced by a knife. She had never thought that Kong Shinmu would actually work so hard for the sake of cultivation. As long as she thought of how Kong Shinmu would have to endure such intense pain every time he cultivated the body-refining dragon-type martial skill, she would feel a little breathless. She admired Kong Shinmu so much. This kind of cultivation method, even if Kong Shinmu had a way to recover quickly, the pain he had to endure was unbearable for ordinary people. After putting in so much effort, why couldn't he be stronger than others? Ran Ran knew that as long as Kong Shinmu was given enough time, Kong Shinmu would definitely be able to stand at the top of this world. It was not impossible for him to become a Super Shenron. She felt that if even Kong Shinmu could not become a Super Shenron, then no one in this world would have the ability to break through and become a Super Shenron. Then, Ran Ran suppressed her heartache, closed her eyes, and continued to attack Kong Shinmu. The Shadow Dragon Sky-Raising Break bombarded Kong Shinmu's divine dragon body again and again, weakening him and making it harder and harder for him to bear. In fact, Kong Shinmu felt that he was really going to die. Just before he lost consciousness, he gritted his teeth and finally activated his devouring power. He began to devour the demonic pill to recover himself. This was the first time he was injured to the point where he could not even use his devouring power. However, the benefits of cultivating the chaotic dragon body this time were almost obvious. Coupled with the sufficient treasures he had on him, the power of his chaotic dragon body began to circulate throughout his body during the slow recovery process. Although the recovery this time was extremely slow, the recovery this time drove the chaotic dragon body to a higher level. It seems like the results of this attempt are not bad. Kong Shinmu gradually regained consciousness. At the same time, he was somewhat relieved that Ran Ran's attack was not strong enough. This was a good thing. This allowed Ran Ran to continuously attack him until he was completely unable to speak. Even his breathing became weak. If Ran Ran's attack was stronger, then Kong Shinmu might not be able to control it so precisely. If she used too much strength, then Kong Shinmu might really die. If she used too little strength, then she would not be able to make Kong Shinmu fall into such a state of near death. This state was very uncomfortable and even made one feel close to death. However, to Kong Shinmu, this was the best training state. Just this time, his chaotic dragon body had taken a huge step forward towards the dragon grade. It's still too dangerous. Kong Shinmu still had some lingering fears. He did not dare to let Ran Ran continue to attack him like this. For the next few days, he followed the rules of his training. Whenever Kong Shinmu suffered a slightly more serious injury, he would directly devour the power of the demonic pill to recover. Then, he would help Ran Ran recover her strength. 7 days later, he and Ran Ran both achieved a breakthrough. Kong Shinmu's chaotic dragon body had finally been cultivated to the dragon grade. His resistance towards various elemental powers had once again increased by a large margin. At the beginning it was 15%. When he cultivated chaotic dragon body to the earth grade, it was 30%. And now, after reaching the dragon grade, chaotic dragon body allowed his resistance towards various elemental powers to reach 50%. In other words, while the chaotic dragon body strengthened his divine dragon body, it also provided a terrifying elemental defensive barrier, weakening the opponent's attack power by half. If it was the current Kong Shinmu, he did not even need to go to the gloomy jungle to devour the power of darkness in advance. He would be able to directly resist the flying fish beast's fiercest attack. As for Ran Ran, when Kong Shinmu's chaotic dragon body broke through to the dragon grade, she finally cultivated the Void Dragon Heaven Raising Break to the heaven grade. This was the highest level. It signified that Ran Ran's mastery of the Void Dragon Heaven Raising Break had reached the point of perfection. It also signified that the young girl could now be like Kong Shinmu and write down the secret manual of the Void Dragon Heaven Raising Break's dragon martial technique. Of course, if it wasn't necessary, she wouldn't sell this dragon martial skill. To her, this was a gift from Kong Shinmu. No matter what, she would not spread it to others. Both of them broke through. There was not much meaning in continuing to cultivate. Chapter 4266. After Kong Shinmu's chaotic dragon body had broken through to the dragon realm, the strength of his divine dragon body had increased significantly. His frontal battle prowess had increased by several times, but in comparison, his offensive ability was quite weak. If he were to encounter an expert in battle, once the other party's defensive dragon martial skill was used, it would be impossible for him to defeat the other party. The only thing he could rely on was his own devouring ability to fight a battle of attrition with his opponent. But if that was the case, the battle would take too long, and if it was the Donghuang Yonggu College's competition, it would be more likely for others to see the special characteristics of his devouring ability. Offensive abilities need to be put on the agenda. Kong Xinmu thought to himself. The only way Xiao Chen could improve his offensive prowess was by cultivating the higher-level origin dragon martial techniques. And if he wanted to cultivate them, he had to cultivate high-tier origin skills. As for mid-tier origin skills, Kong Xinmu didn't even want to cultivate them. After all, when a mid-tier origin skill was cultivated to the peak, its destructive power could not compare to a high-tier origin skill. Donghuang Yangwu College's experience points were not easy to come by. Kong Xinmu could not possibly cultivate high-tier origin skills after cultivating mid-tier origin skills. That would be too wasteful. However, the number of experience points needed to exchange for high-tier origin skills was too high. According to Kong Xinmu's current efficiency in completing missions, he probably wouldn't be able to accumulate enough even if he saved up for 10 years. Thus, he needed large amounts of experience points. How could he obtain experience points so quickly? Kong Xinmu didn't know if there was any way to quickly accumulate experience points. The only way he could think of was to increase his own strength and then complete higher-tier missions. Before the next Donghuang Yangwu College's competition, I probably won't be able to cultivate a high-tier origin skill. Kong Xinmu felt that it was a pity. However, he was not in a rush. In any case, cultivation was not something that could be done in a day. His current rate of improvement was already quite frightening. At the same time that he was accumulating experience points, the most important thing was to increase his own cultivation base. He couldn't possibly spend 10 years accumulating enough experience points to exchange for a high-tier origin skill. That would be far too inefficient. He wanted to make the most of his time. Taking advantage of the fact that his current cultivation level was not too high, he could use his experience points to exchange for cultivation resources to break through his cultivation level. He could definitely increase his cultivation level first. 2 months later, Kong Xinmu cultivated step by step. When he ran out of resources, he would go to the experienced stone steel to take a look. Ever since he killed the horned fish beast, there weren't any missions that were too difficult for him to accept. Everything was going smoothly, but the experience points were coming in slowly. After cultivating for so long, Kong Xinmu felt that he was only one step away from the 5th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm. He wasn't in a hurry to break through. After all, once he reached the peak of the 4th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm, his speed of improvement had already slowed down. If he didn't have a good foundation and rashly broke through, he might encounter some obstructions in his later cultivation. The more spiritual energy he accumulated, the more it would help him increase his strength in the future. Right now, Kong Xinmu was more concerned about the upcoming Donghuang Dragon Martial City trial. As long as they could pass this trial, the young dragon martial artists of Donghuang Dragon Martial City would be able to join Donghuang Yangwu College and become new students of Donghuang Yangwu College. This was the hope of all the genius dragon martial artists of Donghuang Dragon Martial City. Every year at this time, Donghuang Dragon Martial City was always the most lively. This was because all the genius dragon martial artists from the eastern part of the Dragon Martial Continent would gather together and prepare to face the challenges of Donghuang Dragon Martial City's trial. The trial from Donghuang Dragon Martial City was called the Genius Trial. This trial was naturally organized by Donghuang Yangwu College, and the rules were basically the same every year. The genius dragon martial artists gathered at Donghuang Dragon Martial City would challenge the students of Donghuang Yangwu College. This was also an opportunity for the students of Donghuang Yangwu College. Putting aside the specific rules, the key was that as long as they accepted the challenge of Donghuang Yangwu College's genius dragon martial artists, they would receive a certain amount of experience points as a reward. Moreover, if they performed well, they would receive a lot of experience points as a reward. Therefore, the Genius Trial was an activity that all the students of Donghuang Yangwu College wanted to participate in. On Kong Xinmu's side, he naturally signed up. The entire Donghuang Yangwu College would send 20 students to participate, and these students were all students from the Alcade district. If the students from the deeper regions were to participate, it would be too much of a bully for those genius cultivators. For the sake of experience points, I can only sign up. I hope I won't encounter Ran Ran. Kong Xinmu thought to himself when he signed up. Of course, Ran Ran also signed up for this genius trial, but the Fire Phoenix Princess did not. Until now, she had not broken through to the Nirvana Tribulation Realm, and she was still quite far from it. It was impossible for her to catch up in a short period of time with all the skills she had fallen behind in the past. Therefore, this time, Kong Xinmu only cared about whether Ran Ran could enter Donghuang Yonggu College. The rules of the genius trial were very simple. The first round was a free-for-all. There were more than 1,000 genius dragon martial artists who signed up for the genius trial. Every one of them was an outstanding figure of the younger generation, and they had at least reached the heavenly dragon's inherited blood essence. In each free-for-all, 100 people would enter, and only 20 would successfully advance. There were no rules in the free-for-all, and it could even be a matter of life and death. Furthermore, because they were divided into groups on the spot, it was impossible for the geniuses to form cliques in advance. Therefore, this free-for-all was a kind of test for the genius dragon martial artists. If it was the Alcade District's Donghuang Yonggu College students who participated in this level of free-for-all, they would definitely be able to easily last until the end. Even if it was 1 against 99, they would be able to sweep away many of the weaker opponents and remain in the last 20. This was the difference. It was not that the Donghuang Yonggu College students were too strong, but the genius dragon martial artists outside were not as powerful as imagined. Many of them had just entered the Nirvana Tribulation realm, and they only had Heavenly Dragon's inherited blood essence, yet they signed up to participate in the genius trial. The main reason was that these geniuses were still relatively young, so they had a certain amount of potential for growth in the future. If their performance was outstanding, Donghuang Yonggu College might be able to accept them as students. After the first round of free-for-all, there were basically 200 to 300 people left. These 200 to 300 people were able to last until now in the free-for-all, and they were not simple characters. Of course, the true genius trial had only just begun. Next would be the competition between these 200 to 300 people and the Donghuang Yonggu College students. This competition was not one-on-one. If it was one-on-one, then very few people would be able to successfully enter Donghuang Yonggu College. The competition was divided into 3 rounds. Chapter 4267. After the chaotic battles, they would have to go through 3 more rounds of competition with the students of Donghuang Yonggu College. If they were able to win, then they would have the right to enter Donghuang Yonggu College. This rule had been passed down for a very long time. Donghuang Yonggu College was naturally the one who had set this rule. Not only did it test the prodigies' combat prowess, but it also tested their ability to judge, communicate, and cooperate with other prodigies. Many times, Donghuang Yonggu College's missions required many people to cooperate, so cooperation was also very important. The 200 or 300 people who had experienced the chaotic battles needed to observe during the battles. Whoever was stronger was more worthy of them allying together. Only by allying with stronger experts would they have a chance of defeating the students of Donghuang Yonggu College. If they lost even one battle, they would lose the opportunity to enter Donghuang Yonggu College. This rule wasn't very complicated, and it was also very fair. As for Ran Ran, Kong Xinmu wasn't worried at all that she wouldn't be able to pass through the chaotic battles. No matter what, she had inherited the blood essence of the Dragon King, and she had cultivated a high-tier origin skill, the Dark Dragon Filth Mastery. She was most suited to this kind of chaotic environment. However, she also needed to display her combat prowess in the chaotic battles. After all, only the stronger people would be able to meet stronger teammates in the following battles. This kind of competition between prodigies was very cruel, but it was also very fair. Whoever was the strongest would have the right to enter Donghuang Yonggu College. Of course, if everyone was defeated by the students of Donghuang Yonggu College in the 4-on-1 round, then no one would be able to enter Donghuang Yonggu College this year. Normally speaking, the chances of everyone being defeated in the 4-on-1 round were not very high. However, the vast majority of people would be defeated in the 3-on-1 round. Genius dragon martial artists who could enter the 2-on-1 round were already as rare as phoenix feathers and qilin horns. They had to win again before they could enter Donghuang Yonggu College. To be honest, it was extremely difficult. Of course, no matter how difficult it was, there were still people who could complete it. 3 years ago, there was a genius dragon martial artist who succeeded in the genius trial and joined Donghuang Yonggu College. However, there were not many of them. Kong Xinmu felt that the possibility of Ran Ran joining this year was quite high, as long as she didn't meet him. If Kong Xinmu were to encounter him, he would definitely go all out. Kong Xinmu definitely wouldn't feel any pressure dealing with Ran Ran alone. Even if the other 2 joined in, Kong Xinmu felt that he wouldn't feel any pressure either. After all, his current physical strength was too terrifying. The genius dragon martial artists outside, at this age, even if there was a heavenly dragon at the 7th or 8th stage of the Nirvana Tribulation realm, it would still be difficult for them to hurt Kong Xinmu, unless they had cultivated the origin dragon martial technique. However, if it was an opponent of this level, even if they were to challenge the Holy Tower, they would have a high chance of entering Donghuang Yonggu College. There was no need to go through the genius trial. After all, even if they were strong enough, they might not be able to find teammates who were as strong as them. Once their teammates were too weak, they still wouldn't be able to beat them. The final result came out very quickly. Kong Xinmu's registration was not passed, which made Kong Xinmu very depressed. If he passed and became one of the 20 people to test the participants of the genius trial, it wouldn't be a problem to obtain experience points that could only be obtained after a month of missions in just a few days of competition. Unfortunately, the reason why Kong Xinmu wasn't passed was that he was too strong and didn't belong to the Alcade district. This made Kong Xinmu half die of anger. Since he was said to be strong and didn't belong to the Alcade district, then he should be transferred to a deeper area. Why didn't he see any movement? He couldn't do anything about it. It was very likely that Dean Zhuo Xiaofeng was playing tricks on him behind his back. After all, Zhuo Xiaofeng saw that he was close to Yu Tianchong and indeed had a bad opinion of him. It could be seen from the fact that Zhuo Xiaofeng actually secretly helped Lin Yuji when he was fighting with her. In any case, Kong Xinmu was not qualified to fight against Zhuo Xiaofeng yet. Since the application was not passed, there was no other way. He could only rely on Ran Ran this time. He returned to the Charming Inn and specially sparred with Ran Ran to increase Ran Ran's actual combat experience. After all, Kong Xinmu's strength was the strongest in the Alcade district of Donghuang Yonggu College. With such strength, if he sparred with Ran Ran would almost certainly lose. However, it still gave Ran Ran a lot of inspiration. After all, Kong Xinmu's actual combat ability was too strong, far exceeding that of ordinary Alcade district students. Even if 3 to 5 of the Alcade district students came to deal with Kong Xinmu would not lose. 3 days later, the genius trial officially began. Kong Xinmu and Fire Phoenix came to the spacious martial arts arena in the center of Donghuang Dragon Martial City, ready to watch the genius trial. This was the largest martial arts arena in the entire Donghuang Dragon Martial City, enough to accommodate 100,000 people to watch the battle. Kong Xinmu and Fire Phoenix were just 2 of the inconspicuous ones. 100,000 people were watching the battle, and more than 1,000 people were fighting. Moreover, each of them was an extremely tyrannical genius dragon martial artist. Any one of them would definitely be considered a top-notch expert among the younger generation of the Dragon Emperor's dynasty if they were brought to the Dragon Emperor's dynasty. Only existences of this level had a slight chance of joining Donghuang Yonggu College. How spectacular! When they arrived at the martial arts arena, Fire Phoenix leaned against Kong Xinmu's side. Looking at the sea of people around her, she was obviously a little shocked. Although she used to be the princess of Xueqi Dragon Country, she had never seen so many people gathered together. Xueqi Dragon Country often had such scenes, but unfortunately, they had nothing to do with her. Moreover, which one of these dragon martial artists gathered in Donghuang Dragon Martial City wasn't an expert? They were all super experts who had gathered from the surrounding provinces. Many of them were from the powerful Dragon Emperor's country, and even many Dragon Emperor had personally come to cheer on their country's geniuses participating in the battle. Therefore, the current Donghuang Dragon Martial City was already a gathering of experts. Many of the Dragon Emperor's country's Dragon Emperor's experts weren't people that a junior like Kong Xinmu could fight against. If he wanted to reach this level, he had to at least reach the peak of the Nirvana Tribulation realm. He might even have to break through to the Reincarnation Tribulation realm. Of course, it was too early for Kong Xinmu to think about this now. Next, the most important thing for him to do was to break through to a higher realm before the next school competition, and strive to enter the area with the denser energy of the dragon mark to cultivate. Amidst the hubbub of voices, a few mentors from Donghuang Yonggu College appeared together. Chu Yueqiang, Tan Shouzhua. The 5 mentors were about the same level of strength. This time, the Donghuang Dragon Martial City's genius trial would also be hosted by the 5 of them. Experts like the dean of Donghuang Yonggu College naturally wouldn't appear in this kind of recruitment event. In fact, Outsiders didn't have many opportunities to see existences like the Super Dragon God. When the 5 mentors appeared, Kong Shinmu saw a few familiar faces following behind them. Xueqi. Chapter 4268. Other than Xueqi, Kong Shinmu also saw the 4 familiar faces of Bao Peng, Qin Shouji, Qin Fengyu, and Lu Hua. They had applied to become trial takers for the Genius Trial, which made Kong Shinmu very envious. After this battle, they would at least gain a month's worth of experience points. It was a pity that Kong Shinmu did not get this opportunity. The official reason was that he was too strong. If he were to become a trial taker, it was likely that no one would be able to become a student of Donghuang Yonggu College. Kong Shinmu brought the Fire Phoenix Princess and sat down in an inconspicuous place on the spectator's stand. When the Donghuang Yonggu College's mentors appeared with the 20 selected trial takers, everyone in the field was filled with admiration. The Donghuang Yonggu College's mentors. This was the strongest existence in the Dragon Martial Continent. Even the surrounding Dragon Emperor countries' Dragon Emperor powerhouses were not on the same level as the Donghuang Yonggu College's mentors. Although the mentors' Divine Dragon Blood Essence had not broken through to Super Divine Dragon and were still at the Dragon Emperor stage, their progress in the Dragon Emperor stage was much stronger than other Dragon Emperor powerhouses. If in this world, the Dragon Emperor countries' Dragon Emperor powerhouses had just entered the Dragon Emperor stage, then the remaining 10% had only walked less than a tenth of the path from Dragon Emperor to Super Divine Dragon. This meant that it was almost impossible for Dragon Emperor powerhouses to become Super Divine Dragon. But the Donghuang Yonggu College's mentors had walked more than half the path from Dragon Emperor to Super Divine Dragon. Only by reaching this condition could Donghuang Yonggu College's students have the qualifications to stay in Donghuang Yonggu College and become mentors after the 100-year period. That was to give them a chance to become Super Shenron. After all, the purpose of Donghuang Yonggu College was to nurture Super Dragon God powerhouses. Hence, such a system was very normal. Under the cheers of the audience, Kong Shinmu remained silent. He saw that Chu Yueqiang was also among the 5 mentors. Her expression was cold and elegant, and she emitted a cold and icy aura. No one dared to have the slightest bit of blasphemy against her. However, Kong Shinmu knew that his mentor was actually very warm-hearted. It was just that he appeared to be cold on the surface. "Those 20 will be the challengers this time," Yi Fuqian said. "Too young. They're so young, yet they've already reached the level of the Dragon King. They're too strong. Most importantly, my cultivation realm has also advanced. I'm now above the 7th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm. Even if it's 2 against 1, it's still too difficult. I'm afraid that this year will be the same as the previous years. Not a single one will be able to enter the academy." Everyone began to observe Xueqi and the others. After all, whether or not someone could successfully enter the Donghuang Yonggu College depended on the strength of these 20 challengers. Many people began to analyze based on their appearances. Some said that Xueqi was very strong, while others said that Xueqi was very weak. Some said that Qin Shouji was the strongest, while others said that Qin Shouji was only average. Of course, the crowd still did not know the names of every student. However, this did not prevent them from recognizing people based on their appearances. Countless people were paying attention to every single challenger. "I hope that Ran Ran will be able to enter the academy smoothly." Kong Shinmu sat in the spectator stand and smiled in a relaxed manner. "Yes." Fire Phoenix also nodded gently as she looked at the arena nervously. Of course, Ran Ran and the others had not appeared yet. All the dragon warriors who were participating in the Genius Trial were currently gathered at the preparation area and had not arrived at the arena yet. Hearing the conversation between Kong Shinmu and Fire Phoenix, the 2 old men sitting beside them immediately chuckled. These 2 old men, one with long hair and the other with short hair, were both grizzled. However, it could be seen that their cultivation realms were still very high. They should be 2 Dragon King experts. Moreover, they were both at the Reincarnation Tribulation Realm. In terms of combat strength, Kong Shinmu was definitely not their match. After all, they were old and had lived for so many years. Whether it was their dragon martial techniques or cultivation realms, they were definitely stronger than Kong Shinmu. Of course it was now. As long as they waited for a few more years, Kong Shinmu would definitely surpass this level of dragon warrior. The two white-haired old men could not help but chuckle when they heard the conversation between Kong Shinmu and Fire Phoenix. Donghuang Yonggu College's genius trial is not that easy to pass. The long-haired old man laughed, then glanced at Kong Shinmu and asked, "Little brother, it's not that easy for your friend to join Donghuang Yonggu College." The short-haired old man snorted lightly. "Our grandson already has the Dragon King's blood essence and has reached the 5th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm. This time, he doesn't have much confidence in joining Donghuang Yonggu College. Do you think it's that easy?" Kong Shinmu listened to their words and did not say anything. He only said, "The difficulty varies from person to person. Some people find it difficult, while others find it easy. It's normal." Hearing Kong Shinmu's words, the two old men were stunned. They never thought that such a young boy would actually say such a thing. The short-haired old man sneered. "You mean to say that for your friend, entering Donghuang Yonggu College is not difficult, and is even very easy?" "Kid, you think too lightly of Donghuang Yonggu College. Actually, Donghuang Yonggu College is just like that." Kong Shinmu looked at Xueqi and the other 20 people on the stage and analyzed. Among those 20 people, there are quite a few who have only joined Donghuang Yonggu College for less than 5 years. Their strength is still relatively weak. There are only 4 who are relatively strong. If Ran Ran wants to join Donghuang Yonggu College, as long as she has a relatively good partner and doesn't meet those 4 students, it shouldn't be a big problem. Although the 4 stronger students that Kong Shinmu mentioned were still cultivating in the Alcade district, they had already joined Donghuang Yonggu College for a long time. Their combat strength was definitely not weak. They even tried to challenge the students of Kaiyang district every year in an attempt to reach a higher level. Those 4 students had cultivated in Donghuang Yonggu College for more than 10 years, and their cultivation levels had all reached the 8th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm. Most importantly, the dragon martial skill that they cultivated was already quite tyrannical. If Kong Shinmu were to deal with them, it would naturally not be a problem. However, if Ran Ran were to deal with them, even if there was an expert who was about the same level as her, it would not be that easy to defeat them. Hearing Kong Shinmu's words, the expressions of the 2 elders changed slightly. It sounded like Kong Shinmu was very familiar with Donghuang Yonggu College. But no matter how they looked, they could only feel that Kong Shinmu's cultivation was only at the 4th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm, and had yet to step into the 5th level. Donghuang Yonggu College. There shouldn't be such a weak student, right? Or could it be that this kid has any relatives or friends who are students of Donghuang Yonggu College? The 2 elders frowned. No one knew what they were thinking. Right at this moment, the noise in the arena suddenly stopped for a while, because on the martial arts practice field, there were finally people from the younger generation who were participating in the genius trial gradually appearing. Chapter 4269. Kong Shinmu didn't see Ran Ran in the crowd. This meant that she wasn't in the first batch of the mixed martial artists. Seeing exactly 100 young genius dragon martial artists step into the arena, the surrounding 100,000 spectators all burst into enthusiastic applause and various cheers. Not far from Kong Shinmu and Fire Phoenix, a sturdy middle-aged man stood up and shouted, "Son, come on! Unstoppable! Charge into the academy!" This momentum was extremely shocking because this middle-aged man was actually an expert at the same level as the Dragon Emperor. Moreover, his cultivation was extremely powerful, probably at the peak of the reincarnation tribulation realm. He roared in anger to cheer for his son. His momentum was so great that all the spectators nearby focused their attention on him. And not only that. After the middle-aged man stood up and roared, hundreds of powerful dragon martial artists wearing armor instantly stood up. The iron-blooded aura on their bodies made it obvious that they were from the Dragon Martial Army. At this moment, all 100 experts in the reincarnation tribulation realm stood up and shouted, "Prince Feng, come on!" When these 100 people shouted at the same time, almost everyone in the audience shifted their gazes towards them. Everyone looked at them as if they were looking at idiots. If cheering was useful, there wouldn't be only one genius every few years who could pass the genius trial and join Donghuang Yonggu College. Therefore, many people sneered at this scene. After all, no matter how powerful their father's family was, they couldn't join Donghuang Yonggu College if they weren't strong enough. Even if they were unlucky and didn't have strong teammates, they still wouldn't be able to pass the genius trial and join Donghuang Yonggu College. It's the Dragon Emperor of the Great Liang Dragon Country, And behind him is the Liang Dragon army. This momentum is too great. The great Liang Dragon country is not weak. It is said that this Dragon Emperor is an expert at the peak of the reincarnation tribulation realm. Moreover, the progress of the divine dragon blood essence has reached 30% of the Dragon Emperors. Really? So strong. Doesn't that mean that this Dragon Emperor is almost the same as an ordinary graduate of Donghuang Yonggu College? There was a lot of discussion. When Kong Xinmu heard these words, he was a little interested in the sturdy middle-aged man. It was already very impressive that someone who didn't graduate from Donghuang Yonggu College could raise the Dragon Emperor's divine dragon blood essence to 30%. As someone said just now, the students of Donghuang Yonggu College could only cultivate inside for 100 years. If they could reach 50% of the Dragon Emperor's blood essence within 100 years, they would be qualified to stay and be a mentor. If they could become a super dragon after 100 years, they could leave Dragon Martial Dragon Continent and go to a higher level. However, if one failed to achieve both, then they could only leave the Eastern Imperial Dragon Martial Academy. This meant that the dragon martial artist's talent was insufficient. Dragon Chen said, T-Dragon. Dragon, T-Dragon Emperor. At this time, those students were basically at the level of the Dragon Emperor, but they had only reached 10% to 30%. There was still a long way to go to become a super dragon. If they failed to stay in Donghuang Yonggu College, it meant that there was almost no chance to become a super dragon in the future. After leaving Donghuang Yonggu College, the students could only return to their homeland, or establish a Dragon Emperor's kingdom by themselves and spend the rest of their lives there. At this time, the great Liang Dragon country's Dragon Emperor's divine dragon blood essence had reached 30% of the Dragon Emperors, which was quite impressive. Kong Xinmu now knew that, for example, Dragon Emperor Yan, although his divine dragon blood essence had reached the level of Dragon Emperor, it was still too far away from becoming a super dragon. It was almost less than 10% progress. This was the gap. Therefore, although they were both Dragon Emperors, their strengths were different. Dragon Emperor was progressing towards super dragon. The higher the progress, the stronger he would be. This was the fundamental reason why the mentors of Donghuang Yonggu College were stronger than other Dragon Emperors. Kong Xinmu did not know how much progress Xueqi had made in Dragon Emperor's blood essence, but if she could stay and be a mentor, it should be at least 50%. Moreover, because she had many students under her, she must have been a mentor for many years. Her Dragon Emperor's blood essence progress should have reached 60 to 70%, maybe even 70 to 80%. This level of strength was much stronger than the Dragon Emperor outside. It would not be an exaggeration to say that one could fight 10 of them. With the great Liang Dragon country's Dragon Emperor and the Liang Long army cheering, in the middle of the martial arts arena, everyone saw a strong young man waving his hand. Dad, don't worry. I'm your son. I will definitely join Donghuang Yonggu College. The strong young man had short hair and wore an iron chain armor. However, he did not look heavy. Instead, he looked very nimble. His eyes were filled with determination and confidence. At this moment, the strong young man was grinning. Obviously, he was confident in himself. He was Liang Luo, great Liang Dragon country's Prince Luo. This time, he participated in the genius trial with the determination to win. Kong Xinmu took a closer look. This Prince Luo's cultivation was not low. He was actually at the 7th level of the Nirvana Tribulation realm. Moreover, his divine dragon's blood essence had reached 20% of the Dragon King's progress. One must know that Kong Xinmu's Dragon King's blood essence progress had not reached this level. After all, after Kong Xinmu advanced to the Dragon King, he did not pay much attention to absorbing the Dragon Mark's energy. He just followed the prescribed order. Now, only 10% of the Dragon King's blood essence progress had been achieved. Of course, if this Prince Luo fought with Kong Xinmu, he would definitely be beaten up by Kong Xinmu. However, among the geniuses in the genius trial, this level of strength was already quite powerful. If Ran fought with him, her chances of winning are less than 100%. However, with this level of participant, I can let Ran choose him to form a team and challenge Xueqi and the others. Kong Xinmu thought to himself. Although the great Liang Dragon country's Prince Luo was very high profile, there was no doubt that he had the strength. After the first battle, many young geniuses disliked the high-profile people. They secretly formed an alliance and directly attacked Prince Luo. In the field, 100 dragon warriors transformed into dragons one after another. The scene was spectacular, and a terrifying power began to spread on the field. The entire martial arts field was separated by a protective barrier. It was divided into dozens of battlefields, each of which had different levels of intensity. Among them, the battlefield where Prince Luo was fighting was the most intense. In total, there were more than 20 dragon warriors. They actually joined forces to besiege Prince Luo, wanting to throw him out. Unfortunately, although these genius dragon warriors were very talented, their combat strength was only average. Many of them focused on improving their cultivation realm and neglected the cultivation of dragon martial techniques. So now, more than 20 people besieging a Prince Luo was actually blocked by him. Chapter 4270. The first battle could be said to be a one-man show for Prince Yen. At most, there were 25 people surrounding Prince Yen. However, they were all sent flying in one move. There was no need to say anything. Although Prince Yen and his father were careless and hated people, it had to be said that they were very strong. Looks like there will be many people who want to work with Prince Yen. Kong Shin-mu thought to himself as he looked at the situation. The relationship between the students of the Genius Trial was not one of competition. Instead, it was one of cooperation. The first round was a competition, but it was just the foundation. To the strong, it was just a round to eliminate the weak. It was not the real challenge. The real challenge would start from the second round, where they would challenge the current students of Donghuang Yonggu College. Therefore, whoever performed better in the battle would be more likely to be favored. Only when the strong worked together could they truly defeat the students of Donghuang Yonggu College. 4 against 1, 3 against 1, until 2 against 1. In the end, if the two of them were not the top contestants of the Genius Trial, it would be very difficult to win. Without a doubt, with Prince Yan's outstanding performance, it would be easy for him to pass through the first round. Next, Prince Yan would become a partner that many people thought highly of. Of course, in every round, there would be 20 genius dragon martial artists who could stay and advance to the next round. Other than Prince Yan, as long as they could perform well in the battle, they would be noticed. If they did not perform well, they would not be able to find their teammates in the second round and would be eliminated. They would not even have the right to fight on the stage. In the first round, other than Prince Yen, there were a few other genius dragon martial artists who performed well as well. They were commendable and had strong combat abilities. After they left the stage, the second round of battle followed. Kong Shin-mu and Fire Phoenix watched quietly. It had to be said that the young dragon martial artists who participated in the Genius Trial were all very strong. However, compared to the students of Donghuang Yonggu College, they were much weaker. Therefore, to Kong Shin-mu, there was nothing to see in these battles. He was only helping Ran Ran to see if there was anyone worth working with. Unfortunately, after 3 battles, Kong Shin-mu only saw Prince Yen worthy of his attention. According to his performance, he was slightly weaker than Ran Ran, but he was still a candidate worth working with. As for the others, there were geniuses too. However, to Kong Shin-mu, they were not strong enough. If they worked together with weaklings, not only would it be difficult for them to defeat the students of the Eastern Imperial Dragon Martial Academy, they might even drag them down. When the 4th battle began, the little beauty's eyes finally lit up. Ran Ran is up. Sure enough, Jiang Xinwu saw Ran Ran, who was dressed in black, walk out from the chaotic battle. There were 100 people in this battle. Among the 100 people, even if Ran Ran hadn't turned into a dragon yet, she was still the focus of the crowd, because she was too beautiful. Her pair of bright eyes exuded a sense of purity, giving people an ethereal feeling. Among the 100 people, there were many young men who were secretly watching Ran Ran. They were very interested in her. Although it was the Genius Trial initiated by Donghuang Yonggu College, many geniuses came to participate not just to join Donghuang Yonggu College. After all, many of them knew that they could not reach the standard to join Donghuang Yonggu College. Their main purpose was to come to the Genius Trial and pick out talents. Many of the dragon martial artists who participated in the Genius Trial came from some powerful dragon emperor kingdom. There were many nobles among them. Many of these people came to the Genius Trial to choose their subordinates. If they could bring a few people back to their dragon emperor kingdom, they would be strong enough to guard a region in the future. There were also some people who came to find a partner. Some strong people couldn't find anyone they liked in their Dragon Emperor kingdom. They had high requirements, so they participated in the genius trial. Maybe they could meet a girl who could move them. Without a doubt, Ran Ran had caught the eye of many of these young talents. Although the battle had not started and many people couldn't see Ran Ran's level, just from appearance, Ran Ran was like a black lotus, cold and pure. With that temperament, her strength and talent were definitely not bad. Otherwise, she wouldn't have come to participate in the genius trial. 100 people went up. Even many of the dragon martial artists who were watching the battle noticed Ran Ran in the crowd. Among the 100 people, there were many young girls. They were all genius dragon martial artists, but none of them were as dazzling as Ran Ran. This situation made a few of the young dragon martial artists in the crowd a little angry. Young girls were vain. They were all high and mighty figures in their own dragon emperor kingdoms. They had countless admirers. They didn't even look at many young talents. The reason was that they didn't think they were good enough for them. So even if these young girls felt that they couldn't meet the requirements of Donghuang Yongwu College, they still came to participate in the genius trial. They wanted to see if there were any top young talents who could move their hearts. Unfortunately, their plan failed. In this group of 100 people, there was a young girl in black, who attracted the attention of most of the young talents. How could they tolerate this? When the battle starts, we'll beat her down directly. Let others see that some women are useless. The young girls gathered together and looked at Ran Ran. They snorted coldly. Of course, no one knew what they were thinking. It was impossible for Ran Ran to care about what others thought. She only knew that many people were interested in her. The gazes from everywhere made her a little annoyed. She didn't like this feeling. She used to be a member of the Dark Dragon group. She was long used to moving in the dark. Once too many people paid attention to her, she would feel uncomfortable. Although she no longer had any memories of that time, it was hard to change this kind of physical habit. But in order to join Donghuang Yongwu College and be able to cultivate with Kong Shinmu, she still endured the discomfort. No matter what, the genius trial was the genius trial. No matter how uncomfortable she was, she had to show her strength in front of thousands of people. When the 100 people went up for the 4th round, the genius dragon martial artists in the field all focused. Following instructor Tan Shoujua's begin, the martial arts field suddenly exploded with endless energy. The 100 genius dragon martial artists transformed into divine dragons in an instant. It was also at this moment that a few powerful dragon martial artists with Dragon King's blood essence appeared in front of everyone. The Dragon King's body was more than 4,000 feet long. It was a colossal creature. As for the other genius dragon martial artists who participated in the genius trial, they all had at least heavenly dragon-level inheritance blood essence. And the divine dragons transformed from heavenly dragon blood essence were only 100 feet long. 13 Dragon King martial artists. Chapter 4271. Dragon King level inheritance blood essence was not as common as cabbages. It could be found everywhere. It could be said that in the Dragon Martial Continent, only 1 out of 1,000 dragon martial artists could possibly be a Dragon King. Especially among the younger generation, there were even fewer who could reach the level of a Dragon King. In the previous 3 rounds of the Genius Trial, there were basically 4 or 5 Dragon Kings among the 100 dragon martial artists. However, in the 4th round of the Genius Trial, there were a total of 13 Dragon Kings. Seeing this scene, many heavenly dragon blood essence inheritors who were participating in the 4th round were envious. They did not expect that they would be placed in the strongest group. The Dragon King was stronger than a heavenly dragon. This was almost an ironclad rule, unless one had an absolute advantage in terms of cultivation realm or had cultivated many powerful origin source dragon martial techniques. However, if the dragon martial artists who could participate in the Genius Trial had divine dragon blood essence that was comparable to a Dragon King, their dragon martial techniques and cultivation realm would naturally not fall behind. Therefore, if a Dragon King level expert appeared in the Battle Royale of the Genius Trial, unless he was surrounded by dozens of people, it was almost certain that he would stand out from the Battle Royale. There are actually so many Dragon Kings. We're doomed. We have to join forces. Otherwise, just these Dragon Kings alone will take up 13 spots. There are still 7 spots left. Even if we join forces, we won't be able to get rid of all the Dragon Kings. We might as well protect ourselves and blast the other heavenly dragons out. None of the dragon martial artists who participated in the genius trial were easy to deal with. Each of them had their own thoughts. When instructor Tan Shouhua announced the start of the genius trial, everyone turned into dragons. Almost in an instant, after seeing the situation in the field, everyone had a plan in mind. "Get out of here!" A fierce shout was heard, accompanied by the roar of a divine dragon. Immediately, everyone saw that the most eye-catching people in the field were 3 Dragon King-level experts. They were actually charging towards a slender black dragon. That slender black dragon was Ran Ran. Many people's faces darkened when they saw this scene. Some young geniuses who had designs on Ran Ran immediately came to her side and shouted angrily, "Don't you dare bully us with numbers!" There was a total of 5 female dragon warriors. Because of their jealousy towards Ran Ran, they charged towards Ran Ran. 3 of them were the Dragon King and 2 were the Sky Dragons. The 5 girls all wanted to beat Ran Ran up and down. Jealousy made them join hands with each other to fight against a common enemy. Unfortunately, Ran Ran had many supporters. 2 young geniuses transformed into the Dragon King and stood in front of Ran Ran. Ran Ran was prepared to fight back. Although there were many people attacking her, she didn't put them in her eyes at all. When she saw someone helping her, she couldn't help but be stunned. Although she knew that some dragon warriors would choose to ask for help and group up during the chaotic battle, she did not discuss it with the others at all. What was going on? The 2 young geniuses transformed into the Dragon King and stood in front of Ran Ran. Then, they looked at each other and saw the strong desire to fight in each other's eyes. "Let's get rid of our opponents first, then we'll decide the winner." Obviously, these 2 guys were going to use the winner to decide who was qualified to pursue Ran Ran. Don't they have 3 Dragon Kings? Why don't we have a competition? Whoever can defeat one of the Dragon Kings first will be the winner. There was no need for Dragon Kings to fight against each other. After all, they were all qualified to enter the next round. Therefore, one of them suggested to see who could defeat their opponents faster. Sure. The other person didn't object. The 2 young Dragon Kings immediately erupted with a strong desire to fight and faced the 5 female dragon warriors. They each chose one of the Dragon King girls. Their powerful origin dragon martial skills surged out violently. There was still 1 Dragon King and 2 heavenly dragons left. Seeing this, they were even more enraged. The chaotic battle had just begun, and someone had already come to protect Ran Ran. This made them even more jealous. None of them tried to stop them. They headed straight for Ran Ran's location. They did not use their origin dragon martial skills. After all, in their opinion, there was no need to use their origin dragon martial skills when it was 3 against 1. As a matter of fact, the 2 heavenly dragons had never cultivated the origin dragon martial technique. Wind, fire, and thunder. 3 different nirvana powers swept out and completely enveloped the slender black dragon that Ran Ran had transformed into. Seeing this, everyone broke into a cold sweat. However, Ran Ran did not even dodge. She did not even use her defensive dragon martial skills. This was because in her opinion, the opponent's attack did not pose any threat at all. Her low-tier origin skill had only been cultivated to the earth rank. The other 2 girls' grade 2 offensive dragon martial skills had only been cultivated to the dragon rank. None of them were at the heaven rank. It could not be said that they were not weak. It could only be said that Ran Ran was too strong. In reality, reaching the opponent's level could already be considered a genius. Most importantly, she had cultivated to the high stage of the Nirvana Tribulation realm at such a young age. This was a level that ordinary people could not reach. Immediately after, the opponent's attack landed on Ran Ran's divine dragon body. Everyone was dumbfounded. That slender black dragon actually did not resist at all. She was hit by the opponent's attack just like that. Generally speaking, the current dragon martial artists all cultivated defensive dragon martial skills. Without defensive dragon martial skills, the dragon warriors were very weak. Dragon warriors of the same level could basically kill their opponents instantly. However, this did not exist for Ran Ran. When the opponent's attack landed, her entire body was filled with the power of the Dark Dragon Filth Mastery technique, which flowed through her divine dragon body. Not only could this power quickly heal her injuries, but it could also counteract the opponent's attack. She had long ago cultivated this high-tier origin skill to the highest heaven rank. Thus, at this moment, The opponent's seemingly fierce attack landed on her body, but it did not cause her any harm at all. Instead, Void Dragon raises the sky. She finally used the top-tier offensive dragon martial skill she had cultivated to the highest level. On the battlefield, 6 dragon heads appeared in all directions. In an instant, pitch-black beams of light shot towards the 3 female dragon warriors. The 3 of them had not expected things to turn out like this. Their attacks did not have any effect on Ran Ran at all. Most importantly, Ran Ran had actually launched a direct counterattack, and this counterattack was abnormally fierce. Each of them used their defensive dragon martial skills as quickly as possible. However, before their defensive dragon martial skills could completely form, the Void Dragon raises the sky had already arrived. The terrifying power instantly landed on the 3 divine dragons' bodies and blasted them far away. Their bodies were covered in divine dragon blood. Everyone present was extremely shocked by this scene. Chapter 4272. A crushing force erupted from the divine dragon weapon that Ran Ran had transformed into and instantly sent her opponents flying. Although the 3 female dragon martial artists were not weak, they had no chance of winning against Ran Ran. They were defeated in just one move. After the 3 of them were sent flying, the other dragon martial artists glared at them covetously. After all, the final goal of this free-for-all was to determine the 20 candidates to advance to the next round. The more people who were eliminated, the more chances the others had. Seeing that the 3 women were sent flying, who wouldn't step in and completely defeat them with a kick? Next, Ran Ran didn't even need to make a move. The 3 women were sent flying out of the martial arts arena. They were seriously injured and besieged, so they couldn't resist at all. Being sent flying out of the martial arts arena meant that they were disqualified and eliminated. At this moment, everyone looked at Ran Ran and their expressions changed completely. This female dragon martial artist was definitely not an ordinary person. She might even be able to step into the gates of Donghuang Yongwu College and become a student of Donghuang Yongwu College. Ran Ran didn't care. She had already displayed her strength and everyone in the martial arts arena remembered her. If no one made a move against her, there was no need for her to make a move. The others also didn't make a move against her. It was obvious that no matter who made a move against Ran Ran, there would only be one outcome. They would be sent flying and then eliminated. Even the 2 young experts who had helped Ran Ran fend off the 2 heavenly dragons wanted to create a good image in front of Ran Ran. In the end, their mouths were wide open in disbelief. This young girl was actually so strong. It was as though it was unnecessary for them to step forward to help her fend off her opponents. The other 2 heavenly dragon girls who had joined forces to attack Ran Ran were shocked when they saw how powerful Ran Ran was. They didn't dare to attack her anymore and retreated. Even if they were jealous and wanted to attack Ran Ran, they wouldn't risk their lives to attack Ran Ran. They still wanted to ride on someone's coattails and see if there would be any experts who would emerge victorious. Then they would hook up with them and bring them to the next round. If they were lucky and managed to get into Donghuang Yongwu College, wouldn't that be great? Although the possibility was small, it was not impossible. Therefore, they still hoped to advance through the chaotic battle. With their retreat, the outcome of this chaotic battle was basically decided. Although the 2 girls did not dare to attack Ran Ran, the anger in their hearts made them vent their anger on the other dragon warriors around them. Many dragon martial artists with heavenly dragon-inherited blood essence were sent flying by them, falling from the martial arts practice field and eliminated one by one. Soon, there were only 20 people left on the field. Among these 20 people, there were a total of 11 Dragon King level inheritors. Originally, there were 13 Dragon Kings in this chaotic battle. In the end, when attacking Ran Ran, one of them was sent flying, while the other was in the process of venting his anger and was besieged by more than 20 people. That girl was not in existence like Prince Yen from before. Being besieged by more than 20 heavenly dragon experts, even if she was the Dragon King, she couldn't hold on. In the end, she fell from the martial arts practice field and was eliminated. This made her even more depressed. She simply wanted to kill Ran Ran. Unfortunately, her strength was far inferior to Ran Ran's. The 4th chaotic battle ended. Ran Ran naturally advanced, and her dazzling performance made people pay attention to her. At this time, near Kong Shinmu and the Fire Phoenix Princess, the great Liang Dragon Country's Dragon Emperor expert and his son, Prince Yen, had already gathered together. Prince Liang Luo looked at the field with a very excited look. That girl is amazing. She suits this prince's taste. Dad, I want to cooperate with her in the next 3 rounds. Well, she is indeed not bad. You can ask around and see who she is. The great Liang Dragon Emperor laughed and said, if she is willing, you can bring her back to our great Liang Dragon country as a guest and become a good friend of our great Liang Dragon country. What he meant was, of course, he hoped that Ran Ran would become his daughter-in-law. However, he also knew that with Ran Ran's level of strength, it was impossible that she didn't have any background. Perhaps his great Liang Dragon country's background couldn't compare to Ran Ran's. Therefore, his words were a bit vague, and he only asked Ran Ran to go to Great Liang Dragon country as a guest. As for the Great Liang Dragon Emperor's words, his son obviously took them seriously. Of course, such an excellent girl. This prince must make friends with her. Liang Cheng said seriously, even if she has some power behind her, our great Liang Dragon country can also make friends with them. There is no harm. Kong Shinmu listened to the conversation between the father and son and wanted to laugh. Ran Ran didn't have any background, but to make friends with great Liang Dragon country, there was no need. Because, with Ran Ran's strength, she could most likely join Donghuang Yanggu College and become a student. Of course, this Prince Liang's strength was not bad. If she could cooperate with him, she should have some confidence in dealing with the students of Donghuang Yanggu College in the next 3 rounds. Kong Shinmu looked at the 20 Donghuang Dragon Martial School students on the stage. When he saw Chu Yi, Qin Shouji, and the others, he slightly estimated their strength. They are not weak. With Ran Ran's strength, it will be difficult to deal with them alone. But, looking at Prince Liang's methods, if he and Ran Ran join hands, it should not be difficult to deal with one of them. Kong Shinmu estimated their strength and nodded to himself. He looked back at Prince Liang and suddenly raised his hand and waved at him. Prince Liang was still chatting with his father. When he saw Kong Shinmu suddenly waving at him, he couldn't help but be surprised. Who was this kid? Why did he suddenly wave at him? Little brother, do I know you? Prince Liang looked at Kong Shinmu curiously. His intuition told him that this young man looked ordinary, but there was something special about him. He was not an ordinary existence. As for where his intuition came from, he didn't know. I don't know you. Kong Shinmu shook his head and said, but if you are strong enough, you should be able to get to know each other very soon. In the next 3 rounds, how about you team up with Ran Ran? As he said this, Kong Shinmu looked at Ran Ran, who was leaving the stage. She is called Ran Ran? Is she a genius from Chi Dragon? Prince Liang's eyes instantly lit up. That's right, little brother. Introduce her to me later, and I will reward you handsomely. Hearing this, Kong Shinmu's face twitched a little. A genius from Chi Dragon? Ran Ran really wasn't a genius from Chi Dragon. Right now, Ran Ran could be said to have no home to return to. She had been following Kong Shinmu all this time. Let's have dinner tonight and get to know each other. Kong Shinmu didn't say much and directly invited him. Chapter 4273. Nighttime. In a luxurious restaurant in Donghuang Dragon Martial City, 6 people sat at the VIP table. Kong Shinmu brought Fire Phoenix and Ran Ran, while Liang Dragon Emperor brought his son, Prince Cheng, and a general of Liang Dragon Kingdom to the banquet. At this moment, Prince Cheng, Liang Luo, and the others already knew Kong Shinmu's identity. He was an official student of Donghuang Yanggu College. This identity had already shown how powerful Jiang Shunwu was. His talent was so strong that it definitely surpassed everyone present. After all, he entered Donghuang Yanggu College through the proper channels, while Prince Cheng couldn't pass the final test in Liang Holy Tower. Therefore, even if Kong Shinmu's current cultivation base wasn't that great, everyone knew that Kong Shinmu would definitely become very strong in the future. Of course, Liang Luo didn't think that Kong Shinmu's current combat strength was that strong. In his opinion, if Kong Shinmu's combat strength was strong enough, he would definitely be selected as one of the 20 students for the trial. He definitely didn't have enough strength to be one of the 20 students for the trial. Unfortunately, he didn't know that the current Kong Shinmu wasn't selected because he was too weak, but because he was too strong. Naturally, Kong Shinmu couldn't be bothered to say more about this. The key now was for Liang Luo and Ran Ran to join forces and win the next round. Regarding this point, Jiang Xinwu had some information that he could share with them. He didn't know about the others, but Bao Peng, Qin Shouji, Chu Yi, Qin Fengyu, and Lu Hua were a total of 5 people, and Kong Xinmu was quite familiar with their combat strength. Let me tell you one by one. After both sides got to know each other, Kong Xinmu began to introduce the 5 people. If you meet Chu Yi, his combat strength isn't too strong, but you need to pay attention to the following points. If it's Bao Peng, his defensive dragon technique is at a very high level. Qin Shouji. Even though he has a sharp tongue and a terrible character, his fighting prowess is not to be underestimated. He explained the basic fighting styles of the 5 of them. Ran began to ponder. Prince Liang Luo also had a serious look on his face. I understand. However, we might not necessarily get one of the 5 of them. If it's one of the other 15, it's very likely that none of what you said will be useful. Kong Xinmu wanted to beat him to death. He hadn't been in Donghuang Yanggu College for long, so it was impossible for him to be familiar with every student's fighting style. He was just trying his luck by explaining the situation of these 5 people. What if he encountered them? If they were prepared, their chances of winning would naturally be higher than if they were unprepared. This Liang Luo insisted on ruining his stage, which made him unhappy. However, Kong Xinmu couldn't be bothered to stoop to his level. After saying this, after eating, Kong Xinmu left with the 2 women and returned to the charming inn. Have a good rest tonight. When you and Liang Luo go on stage tomorrow, let's discuss and pick 2 more reliable people to go with us. Kong Xinmu instructed. He also rested at the charming inn tonight. He couldn't be bothered to go back since he had to come down tomorrow anyway. After the free-for-all, it was time for the first round of challenges. The first round of challenges was 4 against 1. While Kong Xinmu was discussing with Liang Luo and the others, the entire Donghuang Dragon Martial City was filled with geniuses who were participating in the trial, looking for their teammates. This was a way to make friends with other genius trial takers, and it was also the only chance to win. If they wanted to join Donghuang Yanggu College, they had to win the next round of challenges. Although the chances were not high, if they could pick better teammates, it was not impossible to defeat the students of Donghuang Yanggu College. The last round of challenges was 2 against 1, and the requirements were much higher. But in the first round of 4 against 1, many people could pass the trial every year. That night, it became a sleepless night for many people. There were also many people who wanted to find Ran and Liang Luo, but no one knew where Ran was staying. On the other hand, the inn that Liang Luo and the others were staying at was harassed by more than 10 groups of people. They were all talented dragon martial artists who wanted to cooperate with Liang Luo. Therefore, Liang Luo received them one by one, picked 2 fellows who looked pleasing to the eye, and decided to let them join tomorrow. To be honest, in Liang Luo's opinion, it was impossible for them to lose when it was 4 against 1, as long as the other 2 did not drag them down. As for Ran, he was naturally not worried. After all, she was a real student of Donghuang Dragon Martial City, someone that even Kong Xinmu thought highly of. The next day, Donghuang Dragon Martial City, training field. After more than 10 free-for-all battles on the first day, today's battles were even more exciting. Because today, there would be students of Donghuang Yanggu College. There were more than 200 genius dragon martial artists who had passed the free-for-all yesterday. These 200 people could form a total of more than 50 teams. Just last night alone, there were already more than 24-man teams that had formed. As for the rest, they were randomly distributed among the people who had arrived at the scene today. If there was a hope of becoming a student of Donghuang Yanggu College, it was impossible for them to do nothing last night. Even the strong did not need to go out, and there would be people coming to invite them. Therefore, those who did not form a team last night basically had no hope. Therefore, it was fine to just randomly find a few people today, and at least show their faces on stage. Perhaps the opponents they chose were not strong and they would really win? Donghuang Yanggu College. The same 5 instructors appeared to preside over the genius trials this time. The instructors were also very busy. Their appearance meant that the first round of challenges was about to begin. Everyone formed their own 4-man team and went up to register. Then, the 5 instructors drew lots together to decide the opponents that each team of 4 would face. Kong Xinmu was in the spectator stands, watching them draw lots with Princess Fire Phoenix. Princess Fire Phoenix was clearly a little nervous. Kong Shinmu could not help but smile. Don't be nervous. No matter who it is, Ran Ran will definitely be able to deal with them. Hearing Kong Shinmu's words, Princess Fire Phoenix calmed down and secretly prayed for Ran Ran. Soon, the results of the draw were out. Ran Ran and Prince Yen formed a four-man team, and in today's first round of challenges, they would face Qin Shoji. This result made Kong Shinmu immediately smile. It seemed that Qin Shoji was in for a hard time this time. Previously, when he revealed Qin Shoji's fighting style, it was not considered a trap. After all, even if he lost against a genius, he would not lose anything. He would only gain some experience points if he won. This time, Kong Shinmu could not get a chance to earn experience points. So what if he let others lose some experience points? You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.